Man, what it do? What it do? Good evening to everybody tuned in the Science with Sean. It's your boy Sean P in the place to be. Please like the show, share the show, tell a friend that the Mossy Warrior clan is at it again. Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. If you have came in or if you watching this live or catching a replay, make sure you share this video with family members, friends, or relatives who may feel like Cole Beasley. But before we get into it, we're going to deal with an actual study that was published the other day. And I just want to kind of comb through it with people live so you can see how the science is working and what the science is actually saying. Um, Most people don't have the time of day to actually go through these studies or take a look at these things uh, and kind of critique them in a way or whatnot. But we're going to do that together. Um, and then we're going to get into the craziness of Cole Beasley, especially with his recent tweet. Let me make sure I get that pulled up too. I want to make sure that I get that pulled up for you. It was 6 hours ago. And what we need to do is we really need to look at what he's saying. And then we need to question uh we need to look at what he's saying specifically, and then we need to deal with it because in my honest opinion, there's a lot of I won't say it's a lot of it's a lot of misinformation. I could say that, but someone's not correcting him when he says what he says. So, he's taken to Twitter and Instagram or whatever to state his little arguments or whatever he want to state, but he believes that he's bigger than everybody else. And the people he probably got his information from hadn't told him that they've been vaccinated. Come on, man. I know we got some people in the building that want to get educated today. Please like the show, share the show. Come on now. Rock with your boy, man. And we're gonna get it cracking. We'll try to wait a little bit, see if we can get some more people in. It's okay. I think the chat is open. Peace to everybody that's tuned in. There's a lot of people that hadn't said anything just yet. And we're gonna get this thing going. Yep. Maybe I should change the title. Sean versus Unc Part 2. Let y'all get in on our latest argument. It'll be about 50 people in here. When the hell's arguing. Bear with me one moment. I'm actually trying to share the stream. We'll get it going, man. We about to really learn something right here from old Cole Beasley. He gonna teach us a lesson. We either gonna learn from him or he gonna learn from us. I mean, nah, he ain't gonna learn from us. We either gonna learn from him or he gonna learn from nature. That's how I'm gonna put that. And even more if they were taking his pay, he really learned a lesson then. But y'all quiet in the mug. All right, so let me get my screen share and we can get into this. We can get into the nitty gritty. I appreciate those of you who have liked the show, shared the show, probably tag me in a post. What up, Keenan? What up, ATL? Hold on 1 second. Okay, there it goes. Like, dang, how the comments ain't coming through. Let me get a sip of that apple juice. What y'all know about that apple juice, man? What up, Unbiased? What's good, bro? All right, so let me get into the science a little bit, and then we'll get into the shenanigans. Shout out to all the brothers out there, man, with COVID D. What up, Chris? What's good with you, bro? Shout out to all the brothers out there with COVID D. Yeah, you limp, you can't get it up, and your sperm count low. Shout out to y'all. Y'all thought just attracting it and not, you know what I mean, having no protection against infection was gonna help you out. What up, Tarka? What's good with you, bruh? Clear coffee over there. That's how I'm starting everything out, man. Shout out to everybody with COVID D and to the women who love it. Shout out to all the sisters out there who love that man with that COVID D. That low sperm count, man, they can't even get it up. Shout out to y'all, man. All right. So in a new study published on the 17th, they were looking at how evasive Omicron was, and they needed evidence for it. So Columbia's researchers collaborated with some people in Hong Kong to look for evidence for how evasive Omicron was. And basically, this article has a preprint that's attached to it and some additional information that I found quite interesting. And I'll point out to y'all the interesting parts of the actual study. But I just wanted to kind of like breeze through this particular article, which you can get, of course, in the description of my videos. You can get the sources. So you just don't think that I'm just running out. So if you're new here, I don't know if the brother that was here earlier is tuned in or peeped the game, but he did bring up something. He wanted to know where I was at, and I actually helped him out with that. So, yeah, I am looking at the new study article from Columbia. You should see that's the very first source in the description of the video. What up, Lamar? We're just getting started, bro. And it is what it is. So basically, in this new study from Columbia, researchers in collaboration with scientists from Hong Kong add more evidence that Omicron variant can evade immune protection conferred by vaccines and natural infection. I'm gonna say that very slowly for those of you out there that don't believe in the vaccines. You're susceptible. Now, we're going to also realize that the vaccines, or I should have pulled up information showing you that the vaccines, even against Omicron, still protect against hospitalizations and death. So the vaccines are still fighting, even without tweaking of the vaccines to cover this particular variant or make variant specific vaccines. This variant, these vaccines are still protecting against hospitalizations and deaths, and that is significant news right there. So, in this collaboration between Columbia researchers and Hong Kong, evidence has come out that shows that the Omicron variant can evade the immune protection conferred by vaccines and natural infection, and suggests the need for new vaccines and treatments that anticipate how the virus may evolve. Now, this is just a suggestion. It's not telling you that it is needed because they're still doing their studies and research and so on. However, we know the protection is there with the current vaccines that are on the market, but we also know with booster shots, you have more immunity against more protection against the spread of infection, hospitalization, and death, and they protect well against Omicron. All right. So the findings, which are not peer reviewed, were posted in BioRix, which is a pretty good site that has a lot of peer reviewed stuff that gets transferred over, scrutinized first, then transferred over to journals. However, in this, it basically stated this. It says a striking feature of Omicron variant is the alarming number of changes in the virus's spike protein that could pose a threat to the effectiveness of current vaccines and therapeutic antibodies. Now, a large drop in Omicron neutralization by antibodies from vaccines. It says the new study tested the ability of antibodies generated by vaccines to neutralize the Omicron variant in laboratory assays that pitted antibodies against live viruses and against pseudoviruses constructed in a lab to mimic Omicron. So remember that South Africa did a study testing Pfizer against Omicron using blood samples from six different individuals. And we saw what that study did. And here's another study. So this is science at work. This is science looking to answer the question of, are the current vaccines successful? Now, in this study, right? Antibodies from people double vaccinated with any of the four most widely used vaccines. Moderna was a part of it. Pfizer, of course, AstraZeneca, and Johnson & Johnson were significantly less effective at neutralizing the Omicron variant compared to the ancestral viruses. Now, antibodies from previously infected individuals were even less likely to neutralize Omicron. So I want to make this point clear. They were significantly less effective at neutralizing Omicron variant. The vaccines, right? They were significantly less effective at neutralizing Omicron variants. However, previously infected, all the natural people in the world, were even less likely to neutralize Omicron than the vaccine. So the vaccines was doing a better job at providing some type of protection against the spread of infectious disease than natural infection. So the recommendation here would be a third booster, which most people have actually gotten. So it says even a third booster shot may not adequately protect against Omicron infection, but of course it is advisable to get one as you're still benefiting from some immunity. Now remember, this is just a study. New data is being brought to our attention every day. But I'm only trying to show people that actually rock with me and what's taking place, how science works. These studies are indicators of how to answer research questions. Which brings me back to one of the significant points of my recent studies regarding scientific integrity and how important the scientific method is. See, with natural infection, I mean, not natural infection. With herbalists, we don't get this information. We don't see testing, right? With people under the assumption of getting infected, we don't see testing that result in their favor. The only science that people are having conversations about is the only data that is available to us all that shows and proves what things are doing and what things are not doing. Whether the way we scrutinize it is genuine or not, we only are arguing over the scientific data published and made available by the scientific community. There's no other community that is outside of the scope of the scientific community that is dealing with this pandemic, publishing, printing, and testing their claims. So this is a one-sided argument, basically, is what I'm saying. So it's an argument between the have and the have-nots. The have-nots are the people who claim that they have a solution to a problem that has yet solved anything. And on the other side, the haves are the people who continue to print and post the data on a day-to-day basis, despite the misrepresentation that it gets by some people who are intentionally lack the literacy level to convey what is actually going on in the study, and we end up jamming them up. But it happens. Let me continue. So individuals who receive the booster shot of either of the two mRNA vaccines are likely to be protected, although even the antibodies exhibited diminished neutralizing activity against Omicron. Ladies and gentlemen, you should not fear this, right? Many people have a misunderstanding on what these vaccines are designed to do. We're going to take a look at that dealing with Cole Beasley. And I may be able to answer a couple questions in the chat as well regarding this particular data. Absolutely, Rasta. We don't see any scientific. What blood work do herbalists use to prove that they actually cured anything or prevented the spread of infectious disease, hospitalization, or death, or actually really treated symptoms and cured them? Now, the new results suggest that previously infected individuals and fully vaccinated individuals are at risk for infection with Omicron variant, says Ho. Even a third booster shot may not adequately protect against Omicron infection, but of course, it is advisable to get one as you'll still benefit from some immunity. Again, in protection against infection is taken out of context. So when we read these things, people are like, "Well, see, it's not going to stop me from being infected. You're still being infected by viruses you've been vaccinated against since you was a child." The problem is that you have commonly reduced those to something that you now, look at as a common cold. Now, any symptom that correlates with whatever the symptoms are for a common cold, which is a virus, an adenovirus, people will relate it to that. So this is why you had virologists earlier on in the pandemic talking about or predicting the stage of vaccinating enough of the population to where we can control the effectiveness of the actual virus down to, or minimize it down to, that of a common cold. Now, the results are consistent with other neutralizing studies, as well as earlier epidemiological data from South Africa and the UK. So as you can see, we have Colombia dealing with scientists from Hong Kong relaying back to South Africa and the UK. So I want you to think about what I'm saying now. You got Columbia University, so you got the US and the Hong Kong working together on a study. You got a UK study and you got a South Africa study, all related to the same thing, geared toward how protected are people against Omicron variant, which Omicron variant, as of late, since the latest data has come out, has been 73% of the PCR tests have come back related to Omicron over Delta. Now, it goes on to say that the results are consistent with other neutralizing studies as well as early epidemiological data from South Africa and the UK, which show efficacy at 2 doses of the vaccine against symptomatic disease is significantly reduced against Omicron variant. Then it goes on to talk about monoclonal antibodies aren't able to neutralize Omicron. So we know the vaccine is reduced, but what about those monoclonal antibodies that people try to misrepresent and say, well, I'll just get that? It's still like a vaccine. When administered early in the course of infection, monoclonal antibodies can prevent many individuals from developing severe COVID. That's what monoclonal antibodies' job is to do. Is earlier on, if it's administered earlier on in the course of your infection, it is to help you prevent severe COVID. But the new study suggests that all therapies currently in use and most in development are much less effective against Omicron, if they work at all. In neutralizing studies with monoclonal antibodies, only one breed 198 approved in China maintained notable activity against Omicron. A minor form of Omicron is completely resistant to all antibodies in clinical use today. The authors note that Omicron is now the most complete escapee from neutralizing that scientists have seen, meaning it evades and escapes better than Delta. In this study, Ho's lab also identified. Now, hold on, let me go back. Now, Delta had an escape rate, but it wasn't as significant as the escape rate for this. For Omicron, this is why we see a 5.34 fold. I mean, a 5.4 fold times greater than Delta in reinfection rates. So in this study, Ho's lab also identified 4 new spike mutations in Omicron that help the virus evade antibodies. That's what you need to look at. This information should inform the design of new approaches to combat the new variant. So they talk about future directions, but I want to kind of play this video real quick. Hold on. I don't want to take no L when I get him credence or credit. And then we're going to get into the rest. Now, copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. So we're going to take a look at this actual video that was done by Columbia and dealing with Omicron. Just peep game. It's only 2 minutes.
Yeah, I think the main finding from our study could be summarized this way. One is studying serum of previously infected individuals or vaccinated individuals. And when we test the serum samples against the original strain versus the Omicron variant, we see that the serum antibodies don't work very well against Omicron. And the drop is 20, 30, 40-fold. Very dramatic. And then we try to understand what kind of antibodies are being resisted by the Omicron variant. And it turns out that previous variants only resisted two major classes of antibody, but Omicron resisted now all the classes of antibodies directed to the spike of this virus. And then there are monoclonal antibodies that are being used as therapies, and all of those are severely affected by Omicron, and many of them completely wiped out. So treatment landscape has been altered by this variant. I think expect a huge number of cases. Expect that for every 10 people you bump into, there's at least one infected. Therefore, act accordingly. I think you get your booster, get your antibodies up, and hopefully better protected that way. And I would think if you're indoor with a lot of other people whose infection status you don't know, you wear a good mask. I would wear a KN95 or N95 mask. I think this is not the time to be cavalier. And then I think I would use testing more when people do need to gather and at times be eating and taking the mask off. I would want to be sure that everybody's at least antigen negative. And those antigen tests are fast and more affordable than PCR tests.
All right, so basically, testing is very, very much so in high regard. Like, we need answers. In order for us to get answers, people have to get tests. If you're feeling sick, chills, headaches, certain type of things, don't ignore those signs. Go get tested for COVID. Go get it's free. Go pull up somewhere, get your COVID test, and move on from it. Get your test, move on from it, and see if you are positive or negative despite being vaccinated. We all know that breakthroughs are natural, they occur. It's not a big deal for breakthroughs to occur, especially in the population when you have a huge number of people vaccinated. These these viruses don't stop trying to attack your cells. They look for ways to be evasive, and they mutate and they adapt. And this is what's going to happen. And specifically regarding immunocompromise, we're going to see things like this happen where the immunocompromised are vaccinated and potentially all these other things transpire, come up out of that based on other signs. But we just can't get hung up in the ignorance of others, right? We can't get caught up in the ignorance of others, and we have to make sure that we're prepared. So, your little breakthrough, you'll be able to clear the virus within 2 to 3 days, which is a lot faster than someone who's unvaccinated and you don't run the risk. You don't run the risk of potential hospitalization or death, or spreading it to someone else, right? The shedding is a lot quicker. So just be cautious out there, man, especially with this new variant rolling around. Now, what we don't know is how severe, right? We don't know how severe, we don't know how severe disease is. So I can say that until we get more data on that, you know, it is what it is. Moving on. Like I said, this study is in the description of the potential video. Let's deal with Cole Beasley and why he's making news. Now, of course, this week, and I don't know if this article will show, but Bills placed Cole Beasley on the COVID list. He's on the COVID list. I think it's still gonna pop up. So as you can see, Cole Beasley is on the list. Chiefs add Tyreek on the list as well. Now, the Bills placed wide out in the team's most vocal vaccine critic, Cole Beasley, on the list. Okay, he won't play Sunday, and then he comes out and he tweets a series of tweets, his displeasure. He says, "It's not COVID keeping me from playing football Sunday. It's the dumb rules." So he's upset at the fact that there's rules in place that are trying to protect other people. Now, nobody else is saying the things that he actually is saying. It's just him. No other person is complaining. They know the rules, they know the protocols. The NFL protocols went into effect way before the season. It is what it is. He's unvaccinated, and he's been fined by the NFL for failing to wear his mask inside team facilities. And he threatened to retire in June over the league's COVID-19 protocol. Listen, Cole, let me be very clear, bro. The NFL will not miss you if you retired. So if you just went on about your life and didn't say nothing, the NFL would not stop. Not for you, not for nobody at all. So we have situations like this regarding Cole Beasley, and I'm going to play the audio so we can listen to this. This was earlier in July. All right. This is when he was sent home with positive COVID tests during that week.
Cole Beasley says a Buffalo Bills player was sent home with positive COVID-19 test this week.
The evolution of T-Series advances Titleist even further in our mission to produce the best iron.
Hold on, they got this ad on here. "13 seconds. 10, 8, 6, 4, 3, 2."
Buffalo Bills wide receiver Cole Beasley is against the COVID-19 vaccine and the NFL/NFLPA restrictions associated with the coronavirus. We know this. On Tuesday, he got into another public Twitter exchange with folks where he made a note about one of his teammates. "I've already had a teammate who was vaccinated be sent home for COVID yesterday," tweeted Beasley Tuesday. "Luckily, he caught it on Monday. 'Cause if it was Tuesday, he would have given it to everyone for a whole week before being tested again." While Bills rookies reported to training camp on Tuesday, it could be a rehabbing player who was sent home. They have access to the facility in the offseason. Beasley did not elaborate in a subsequent series of tweets. "Of course, we know that people can and do test positive for COVID-19 following vaccination. They aren't 100% vaccines, with the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines in the 94 to 95% effective range. 19 or every 20 people are protected. The one-shot Johnson & Johnson vaccine, which several teams offered to players because of the nature of off-season travel, was only about 66% effective in trials. So 1 in 3 people who receive that single shot still stand a chance to be infected. If 21 hypothetical Bills players received the Jan-J shot, 7 of them would still be left exposed. What's interesting here is that captains Josh Allen and Tremaine Edmonds said the players on the team were going to keep coronavirus-related information within the locker room when they spoke with the media at minicamp. Beasley seems to be going out of his way to subvert that with his public comments to spill the tea. It violates the locker room privacy, but also this individual player's privacy. Under current rules for the off-season and preseason, vaccinated players are only tested once a week while unvaccinated players still require daily testing to enter the facility. The rules aren't keeping anyone safer. It's just protecting from getting games canceled, said Beasley in a follow-up. He had multiple tweets Tuesday taking aim at folks disagreeing with him, including an exchange with Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban. When players return to camp next week, COVID-19 protocols will be in place inside the building and on the field, and whether we like it or not, will still be part of the story heading into the 2021 season.
It's not too late to make someone's holiday season a special one. Start now as an Amazon delivery station warehouse associate to earn some extra money for the holidays.
I can find
We
it.
help bring joy to thousands near you by preparing packages and loading them up for their final delivery.
All right, so let's deal with this the way we need to deal with this, right? He says, I've already had a teammate who was vaccinated be sent home with COVID. Luckily, he caught it on Monday because if it was Tuesday, would have given it to everyone for a whole week. That's what he says. He didn't elaborate in his series of tweets. This stuff is just science that they actually dropped. Comes back to Josh Allen and Tremaine Edmonds, which are the captains on the team, basically says they're keeping COVID-related issues in-house when it comes to the teams. Cole Beasley did not abide by the team rules. He began to let stuff out, which led to him in a series of tweets between him and Mark Cuban, where Mark Cuban basically offered to buy him stock in Pfizer, buy it for his wife. He says, if you go and you get vaccinated, and I'm summing it up, basically, if you go get vaccinated, then I'm going to buy you a percentage of stock, which will bring you money for being vaccinated. So Mark Cuban was willing to invest in Cole Beasley by him getting vaccinated to deal with that. And Cole Beasley said, I'll get vaccinated and be an advocate for it if Pfizer puts a percentage of its earnings from the vaccine in my wife's name. And that's how Mark Cuban got into it. So, Cuban, I'll tell you what, Cole, you get vaccinated and promote vaccinations on all your socials. I'll buy your wife a share of Pfizer stocks. It pays a 3.78 dividend. That way, she is getting a percentage of Pfizer's earnings. Deal? So he tried to meet Cole Beasley, who opened his mouth via Twitter in the middle and make sure that his wife would get paid, as Cole Beasley wanted. He didn't say anything. So that's stuck where it is. He just opened his mouth and put his foot in it. Next, we have Cole Beasley on social media, or a meme made that published in Sports Illustrated that says, once unvaxxed players get cut, they're losing a dream they've worked their whole lives for over a vaccine. And this is where it gets murky. Over a vaccine that is proven to not keep people from contracting COVID. Now, remember earlier, I said there's a misconception about what people think vaccines are designed to do. And for Cole Beasley, he assumes that the vaccine is to stop you from being infected from any virus, from the virus at all. He doesn't know that the vaccines no matter which trial you look at, none of the vaccines were tested or were created to prevent infection. Every vaccine made, Pfizer, Moderna, and J&J, were produced to prevent the spread of infectious disease, hospitalizations, and deaths. If the vaccines protected against infection, that was an added bonus for the vaccines. This is why people are getting pretty much booster shots, because they're trying to prevent the infection. So they're trying to build up a resistance level to keep it from breaking through. Now I'm gonna stand on this. In all high regard, I'm all for the elderly people getting the booster shots. I've said that. If you want to get one, I'm not going to talk you out of it. I'm specifically saying if you're just trying to protect yourself from the potential of an infection, good luck. Because you're still being attacked by viruses that you don't know nothing about. And you're having certain reaction to those viruses once you're infected. Like the common cold, the adenovirus vector. You have that. Other respiratory viruses that people have been vaccinated against that are still attacking your body. Viruses have not gone anywhere. Measles, mumps, rubella has not just stopped infecting people. It doesn't have a viable host to continue to infect because so many people are vaccinated against it. Polio is not gone anywhere. It just doesn't have many people to infect because everybody that we know of has been vaccinated against polio. That's why you don't see people bodies bent out of shape and them walking all kind of funny. Whooping cough. You don't see grown people and children with whooping cough. A vaccine at your childhood prevents you from having whooping cough. Therefore, people who are being infected with whooping cough is not phasing them because you've been vaccinated against it. I can continue to go through a series of different viruses. There's about 14 of them that we have been vaccinated against in the United States, and they've been pretty much eradicated. Chicken pox. Go ask your children, or you're responsible adults. How many of your children have had chicken pox? I'll wait on that. So Cole is under the impression that the vaccines are supposed to prevent contracting COVID. That is not as the case. This is a novel virus. This whole notion of all this other stuff is asinine. Like it's a level of ignorance, but it doesn't stop there. So Ian Rappaport, he tweeted that he's on the COVID list and he's unvaccinated, so he has to sit out 10 days. If he tests positive, he's out 10 days automatically. He tested positive, so he's out 10 days, which can cost the Buffalo Bills, what? How many? 2 games potentially, depending on if they play. If they play on Saturday and then turn around and play on a Thursday night, it's a wrap. It's a wrap for Cole. So let's move on to some more of the craziness. So Twitter reacts to Bills receiver Cole Beasley contracted COVID. It will come as a surprise to no one to learn that Buffalo Bills receiver Cole Beasley, NFL's outspoken anti-vaxxer, has tested positive for COVID. Beasley, who proudly unvaccinated, will not be privy to the benefits of vaccinated players received from the NFL when it comes to returning to play. Whether he's showing symptoms or not, because he tested positive and is not vaccinated, Beasley will be out a minimum 10 days. The timing of Beasley's positive test couldn't be worse. In 5 days, the Bills face the New England Patriots in their first most important regular season game of the year. The winner of Sunday decides who earns the top spot in the AFC East, successfully punching their team's ticket into the postseason. You see the significance of that choice? And we're going to get into his choice because his choice affects other people. We're seeing it right now on display because his team, vying for a playoff position, is currently about to not have him play. And if they lose, that's on him. That's on him. Now, the Bills make their Twitter announcement. They put him on the thing. All right, cool. Now, earlier this season, Beasley said he would rather die than get vaccinated and deleted his Twitter account due to the intense backlash he received online. So he would rather die than get vaccinated. You see what I'm saying? Do you not see how someone's choice is affecting other people? Because if he died, his wife is affected, his children is affected, his parents are affected, his brothers, cousins, aunts, uncles, his entire lineage is infected because of his death. You see how asinine it is? He's a public health crisis walking around unvaccinated, and he's upset because he has to sit 10 days because of protocol. But you said on Twitter you would rather die. Then you came back on Twitter and said, if Pfizer gave you some money, put some stock in your wife's name. Now, it seems Beasley's defense plan to make chances with COVID and build up my immunity that way. This is what he says. This is his defense plan, to take my chances with COVID and build up my immunity that way. Eat better, drink water, exercise, and do what I think is necessary to be a healthy individual. Didn't pan out. Look at this. Playing in the most important game of the season. Cole Beasley. Fruits and vegetables contracting COVID. Look how they did them. Put it. Look how they did him with Elmo, yo. Cole Beasley immediately before the Pats game to decide control of the AFC East. He chose to contract COVID. And this exact scenario, having one of the Bills' most reliable receivers unavailable for a season-defining game, was the crux of the ire against Beasley for choosing to remain unvaccinated. While Beasley couldn't respond on Twitter, he took to Instagram to speak his thoughts on the situation, blaming the NFL's ruling guidelines for sidelining him against the Patriots. Here's his post. Just to be clear, because, they shut him down on Twitter. Just to be clear, COVID is not keeping me out of this game. The rules are, Vax players are playing with COVID every week now because they don't test. One of my Vax teammates is in the hospital missing games. I'm sure he didn't get the same energy. Thank you for those who support everyone else. If you don't get what's happening, then there's nothing anybody can do. He got 39,000 likes for that. I'm feeling fine with mild symptoms. See, this is what he doesn't know. He doesn't know how the virus behaves, because the players that are vaccinated and playing, right, they clear the virus within 3 days. And he doesn't know that they have to have positive tests before they return. The NFL policy states that once you've contracted it, you still have to test positive. This is why people was taking multiple tests to get back on the field before their games. And then you're talking about one of your teammates, and you're saying that he was vaccinated, which I highly doubt. And if he was, then he probably had Johnson & Johnson, which has the majority of the breakthrough infections. And he should have got an mRNA vaccine. But let me continue. Beasley captioned the post, "I am feeling fine with mild symptoms. Thank you for support. I look forward to being back out there with my teammates soon." And then NFL fans and analysts had strong reactions to Beasley testing positive for COVID. Cole Beasley tested positive, you say? That's shocking. Fans and analysts were understandably upset with Beasley's defiant stance against scientific research and shared their frustrations on Twitter. "I sincerely hope that Cole Beasley is okay and ends up being okay. The data suggests much more likely to have severe symptoms." Breaking: Cole Beasley, one of the most outspoken unvaccinated NFL players, has tested positive and will be out this Sunday in one of the biggest games of the season for the Bills. Logging off Twitter until the show tonight. One of the Bills fans tweeted with sarcasm, "If only there was something he could have done to reduce his odds of contracting COVID, reduce the amount of time he'll miss, and reduce the odds of severe symptoms. Poor guy." And then another person basically retweeted, "Cole Beasley tested positive, you say." Now, for detractors tweeting about how numerous vaccinated NFL players have experienced breakthrough cases, says, "You're right. Cole Beasley might have gotten COVID anyway if he was vaccinated," another Bills fan tweeted. "However, he would have had a chance, negative test, to return to the New England game if vaxxed. By being unvaxxed, the NFL won't let him return for 10 days at minimum. So, yes, he is partially culpable." And the Bills now have 5 active roster players on the reserve COVID list. Here they go. And then it continues, and we'll wrap it up here and have a conversation. Beasley joined the Bills' ever-growing list of COVID reserve people. And it's just a fact. So this is what I mean by one person's decision ultimately affecting his teammates. Had he been vaccinated, he only, he got 3 days. He retests in 3 days, he plays. Today's Tuesday. By Friday, he tests and he gets that negative. He in the game. He in the game on Sunday. Straight up and down. There's no way around it. But because of his ignorance and not knowing the science, he's stuck. He's stuck. And this is where demonstration beats conversation. Yeah, he's absolutely a victim of misinformation. But what about Robert F. Kennedy Jr., one of the largest anti-vaxxers out there? What about him? He's having he's having a Christmas party, and his wife says that people have to get tested or be vaccinated before they can come to the Christmas party. But hold on, your husband's an anti-vaxxer, but his wife ain't playing with people. And I guarantee you that Robert F. Kennedy is vaccinated and his wife is vaccinated. And they're running around telling other people not to get vaccinated. You're late to the party. So the point here, Cole Beasley, is that you are a public health threat. See, and your stance against something that it has killed over 800,000 people and millions of people have developed long COVID, and many other people have developed symptoms such as erectile dysfunction and low sperm count, are suffering from the spread of this infectious disease, which Cole Beasley, you might have issues, but your wife might not even notice or care to. You're susceptible for potentially killing people. You can play so let's say they let you play. You come around the facilities, you already tested negative, and then you're sitting here, you're positive. You're sitting around here going through your viral shedding stage when you're the most infectious within, before you even knew you had it, you're the most infectious, and you done got all these different people sick. And then next thing you know, some people, some front office people, they develop symptoms, croak over and die within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or whatever, all driven from an outbreak at the Bills facilities. you're going to sit here and never think about that you was the culprit that started all of that. It's your insecurities that is a major issue for everyone. When you're dealing with a public health crisis, your individual perspective is out the window. And I've been saying that. But I even heard a scientist say it the other day when I was tuned into a 12 talk with Paul Offit, and they were discussing breakthrough infections. And I found it very interesting that this gentleman, this old head guy, said the exact same thing that I've been saying about these people claiming, well, it's my right. Man, I don't care nothing about them sorry Chiefs, man, who lucked up and got in the first place because a couple people lost some games. Brother, ain't what I care about the Chiefs for. All right, hold on 1 second. So it is what it is when it come down to that. Let me pull this up too. Just want to put y'all up on game. Give me a second and I'm gonna try to do that. But I mean, I know y'all in the chat, y'all listening, y'all might be talking and probably trying to fall asleep or whatever y'all doing. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or anything that I actually just said, or you want to just build on something, I mean, let me know. I'm listening. Where my video at? Paul, I fed. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Let me see.
Supposed to say made rather than miles outside was miles outside of my current competencies. Nonetheless, I did want to note a flaw in logic expressed by Dr. Dupamier with,
and it read also, there does seem to be a interval, that longer interval does seem to provide
let me find
higher titers of neutralizing antibodies, or to be broader neutralizing antibodies.
One of the things we've been mentioning, including sort of Dixon's
when he's been on Twitter,
I can't see if it's dude.
He said very early on,
I'm gonna try to find him while do I search.
Also, when people say, look, this is my decision, it's my body, that's not true. This is a contagious virus. I mean, you're making a decision when you come in contact. And the worst thing that when people ask me, what's the worst thing that anti-vaccine activists say? I think what that is when they say, what do you care what I do? You're vaccinated, which makes two incorrect assumptions. One, 100% effective, true of no vaccine. And two, that everybody can be vaccinated. I mean, 3% of people in this country are not going to be successfully vaccinated because of their immune suppression.
And you read all the time about these remorseful comments of people who were doubters, who ended up in the hospital, who their last words were, I would have done this much differently if I had, and then you can fill in that blank any way you want. But it's a shame that it comes down to, like foxhole Christians, so to speak. Just before the bomb hits, you turn into a devout Catholic. I can say that. I went to Notre Dame, so I get.
And the point that you're making, actually, there's a third assumption there, which is that you actually don't have these people's best interests at heart, that you don't care if they get sick when they're saying, why do you care if I'm not vaccinated? Well, because I want you to be healthy.
Yes.
Yes. But also, Paul, as you know, they overburden the healthcare system.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I've read stories of hospitals, not necessarily in big cities, but in small places where everyone's stressed out, people can't work, and there are no beds available. And that's not really fair, is it?
No, I mean, our hospital, Children's Hospital Philadelphia, I love being there. I've been there for many decades, but morale's a little low. I mean, it's hard to constantly, you put on you make sure you have an N95 mask that fits well. You're wearing goggles when you walk in. You have all this stuff on your face, and you're trying to interact with this family. There's this wall between you and this family. You're watching this child suffer, struggle to breathe, cough. It's really demoralizing, day after day after day. It's hard.
Yeah, and I think they need to think about that and be made more aware. There was a wonderful op-ed in the Times last week by a physician in rural Michigan, I think, who said this is thoughtless of you to do this and inflict this on people. And in fact, there are other illnesses that we have to take care of, and we can't as a consequence. Do you think, Paul, we are at the limit of people who are going to be immunized in the U.S.? It's not going to get much higher?
I fear so. I certainly don't think there's any more information out there that could be scarier, that would make people think, okay, now I think I should get a vaccine. I mean, 800,000 people have died already. I can't imagine there's anybody in this country who doesn't have a friend or family member who hasn't at some level suffered from this virus, at some level. And maybe the thinking is, well, it was mild and it got better and everybody's fine. And I don't believe that 800,000 number. But no, I don't. Maybe, and there was, you probably saw this, it was a JAMA paper where they looked at they did serological studies on like 1.5 million blood bank units and found that the population immunity was roughly 80%, either from natural infection or vaccination or both. And so the question is, where do you have to get to really significantly, to have some evidence for clear herd immunity? Obviously, we're not there. And Israel might be getting there because they're roughly 90%, isn't it? 89, 90%.
Yeah.
Well, Vermont is pretty high, and they've still got big problems in rural Vermont, not in the center.
Let me run it back one time for Chris. So I want to make sure that people hear this point and they hear it very clearly. Because at this junction of the particular video, right, he's going in.
You'd find a lot of positivity out there.
Yes, I mean, that's the key, that because it's a pandemic, we're doing unusual things. But in fact, we don't do this for other viruses. And if we did, we wouldn't like the outcome, as you say. I think that's a great point.
It'd be fascinating from an immunological point of view to have some of those data. However, we would not want to do the sort of policy changes that those data might indicate to us.
Exactly.
Now, it seems to me we have, as you said, we have vaccines that prevent severe illness. And why are we now testing people randomly? You should just let people get sick, and then you could test them to see what's going on, right?
Yeah, you could argue they benefit. I mean, my niece called me the other day. She'd gotten 2 doses of Pfizer vaccine. Then she got COVID, went to a party, got COVID, had basically 2 days of a fairly trivial cold. I mean, in many ways, she's better off, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I think with influenza, you get probably some.
Let me answer Chris' question real quick before they continue. Out of 800,000 people that are dead, about 815 or 820,000 people that's dead, 0.002% or 0.002% of those 800,000 people were vaccinated people. Meaning the percentages of vaccinated people were very low. About 810,000 of the 820,000 people were unvaccinated. So about 10,000 to 800,000 deaths. There you go. If you want to do the math like that. If you want to do the math like that, out of 820 something thousand or 815,000, I think we're at 820. Once they confirm the numbers, like 824,000. I might be mistaken, but I haven't looked at it today. But if we look at the confirmed, once they do the confirmed deaths, now remember, we just had 300,000 infections, or almost 300,000 infections on the 20th. So next week, the death rate, or the week after the death rate, or the week after that, 3 weeks or a month from now, the death rate can climb. We may see an increase or a spike in deaths. So we would have to see. But out of the 800,000, bro, it's about 10,000.
Mild infections during the season, and it boosts your immunity, right?
Right.
And but we never know about it. And here, every little, and then people get freaked out. Oh, we're reinfected 3, 4, 5 times. Did you get really sick? Did you go to the hospital? No, it doesn't matter, right? I think at some point we have to get used to this, right?
Would you have known that you were reinfected If I asked you if you were reinfected, would you have said yes if you hadn't had that test?
Right. Exactly right.
Oh,
I mean, think about it. We were trying to prevent mildly symptomatic infections. It's just such a painfully high bar. And to watch us go through this, and I think the most upsetting thing for me is I just don't think we've communicated what we're trying to do here. And we scared the hell out of people. I mean, you watch some pundits on CNN go on there. I think the term was viral blizzard. We were about to undergo a viral blizzard.
Yes.
And, I think in some ways we may find what South Africa found, which is that hospitalizations and deaths are not as big of a consequence as it was for Delta. And that should be the focus. That should be what we're paying attention to. But I just think we're just so good at scaring people, and we're scaring the wrong people. I mean, I'm third dose. I'll get 10 doses. I'm in. But just like it's the people who aren't vaccinated. Those are the ones you want to get vaccinated.
I agree with you 100% on everything you've said. And I think that the pundits are scaring people, and we know who they are. They're the same people they talk to all the time. For some reason, you don't scare people, and they still have you back, which is really good, because they want people that scare people and generate eyeballs looking at their news programs, right?
So, Paul, there seems to be another 100 million United States citizens, though, that still need this vaccine. That's a very large number to reach. So they've heard this again and again and again and again. They know the score, and yet they're willing to take this ridiculous chance. What's up with that? I know you haven't got a degree in psychiatry, so I'm not asking you that, or aberrant political views. But I mean, what do you tell those people?
Well, so I think you can divide them into two groups. I think there are the skeptics. They're concerned. It's hard. I'm sympathetic to the notion that we're asking people to inoculate them with a biological agent that they don't understand, to prevent a disease that is scary to them. And so it's understandable that people are nervous. I get that. And I think some people are reassurable. The skeptic, just show me the data, tell me, make me feel better. Because I have been able, I get a lot of emails and calls from people when I'm on service. I try and convince people. So there are people who are convincible. But then there's the cynic. I mean, the group that just... Cynics, yes. I mean, they're telling you they don't trust you. They don't trust the government. They don't trust pharmaceutical agencies. They don't trust the medical establishment. I think the Neil deGrasse Tyson line, which you all know, is that if someone doesn't use reason or logic to reach a conclusion, reason or logic isn't going to talk them out of it. And I think that's right. What do? You mandate. I think, and to some extent that works. Philadelphia, for example, just mandated a vaccine for any institution or organization or bar or restaurant that sells food or drinks, which includes the Wells Fargo Center. So you go to a Flyers game, you go to a Sixers game, and there's no reason to go to a Flyers game, by the way. They're just go to those games. I mean, you have to show your proof of vaccination. That's good. I mean,
here in New York, you have to do that. You have to show proof wherever you go, restaurant, bar, theater, and everyone does it. It works.
Right, but
there's a black market for fake IDs. It's a crazy world, isn't it?
Of course,
some NFL players have been found.
I know.
Well, I mean, you just show them a photo of your vaccine card, which is easily falsified. Obviously, Brianne, you were going to say something.
I was just going to say that whenever I'm trying to convince people of some of the points, that exactly the same things you're saying here, I often fall back on the idea that they're making this choice of being vaccinated versus nothing. And it's not really a choice. That's not really the choice. The choice is you're going to be vaccinated or you're going to be infected without having been vaccinated, that you're going to be infected either way. And do you agree with that? Do you think that is reasonable logic? Do we think everyone's going to be infected with this?
Yeah, well, John Udell was the first one to say that, right? Sort of head of virus research at NIH, and somebody I trained with. It was many years ago, but he's been on Twitter many times. But he said very early on, you're going to have two choices over the next few years: be vaccinated or be naturally infected. And vaccination is always a better choice. Also, when people say, "Look, this is my decision; it's my body," that's not true. This is a contagious virus. I mean, you're making a decision when you come in contact. And the worst thing that when people ask me, "What's the worst thing that anti-vaccine activists say?" I think what that is when they say, "What do you care what I do? You're vaccinated," which makes two incorrect assumptions. One, 100% effective, true of no vaccine. And two, that everybody can be vaccinated. I mean, 3% of people in this country are not going to be successfully vaccinated because of their immune suppression.
And you read all the time about these remorseful comments of people who were doubters, who ended up in the hospital, who their last words were, I would have done this much differently if I had, and then you can fill in that blank any way you want. But it's a shame that it comes down to, like foxhole Christians, so to speak. Just before the bomb hits, you turn into a devout Catholic. I can say that. I went to Notre Dame, so I get.
And the point that you're making, actually, there's a third assumption there, which is that you actually don't have these people's best interests at heart, that you don't care if they get sick when they're saying, why do you care if I'm not vaccinated? Well, because I want you to be healthy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But also, Paul, as you know, they overburden the healthcare system.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I've read stories of hospitals, not necessarily in big cities, but in small places where everyone's stressed out, people can't work, and there are no beds available. And that's not really fair, is it?
No, I mean, our hospital, Children's Hospital, Philadelphia, I love being there. I've been there for many decades, but morale's a little low. I mean, it's hard to constantly, you put on you make sure you have an N95 mask that fits well. You're wearing goggles when you walk in. You have all this stuff on your face, and you're trying to interact with this family. And there's this wall between you and this family. You're watching this child suffer, struggle to breathe, cough and cough and cough. It's really demoralizing, day after day after day. It's hard.
Yeah, and they. I think they need to think about that and be made more aware. There was a wonderful op-ed in the Times last week by a physician in rural Michigan, I think, who said this is thoughtless of you to do this and inflict this on people. And in fact, there are other illnesses that we have to take care of, and we can't as a consequence. Do you think, Paul, we are at the limit of people who are going to be immunized in the U.S.? It's not going to get much higher?
I fear so. I certainly don't think there's any more information out there that could be scarier, that would make people think, okay, now I think I should get a vaccine. I mean, 800,000 people have died already. I can't imagine there is anybody in this country who doesn't have a friend or family member who hasn't at some level suffered from this virus, at some level. And maybe the thinking is, well, it was mild and it got better and everybody's fine. And I don't believe that 800,000 number. But no, I don't. Maybe, and there was, you probably saw this, it was a JAMA paper where they looked at, they did serological studies on like 1.5 million blood bank units and found that the population immunity was roughly 80%, either from natural infection or vaccination or both. And so the question is, where do you have to get to really significantly, to have some evidence for clear herd immunity? Obviously, we're not there. And Israel might be getting there because they're roughly 90%, isn't it? 89, 90%.
Yeah.
Well, Vermont is pretty high, and they've still got big problems in rural Vermont, not in the centers of the cities. But so I wanted to ask another question now that has more generic implications, and that is, I taught at a school of public health for 38 years. Public health is the public's health. Okay, there's no other stupid way to say it except that's what it is. It's for the public's health. Now, how can you be against that? And the answer is, it's not an individual thing. It's the public's health. That word has a numerical value to it. 338 million people. And how could you not want to be held accountable for violating a public health regulation that would endanger the lives of hundreds of millions of people, like, for instance, meat inspection or food inspection in general? Every time there's an outbreak of a food item, everybody panics. Of course, then they buy the food item and the price goes down in half, which that never made sense to me either. But I remember what happened in the mad cow disease epidemics. But these people they're using the wrong excuse to be against something. My body is my own. You mean to tell me you would just disband all of public health because your body is your own and that's the deal? Everybody fends for themselves. It's an autocracy of 338 million people? That's absurd. That argument doesn't hold any water whatsoever. And yet.
There's no good reason not to get a vaccine.
How do you hold somebody accountable for breaking a general public health law? I mean, you can see what happens to companies that skip a step in terms of sterilization, that gets some foodborne illness out into the public, they get massively fined. They get bad reputations. They get horrible press. Sometimes they have to close. I mean, why doesn't that apply to this one?
It's logic, and as Neil deGrasse Tyson said, you can't use logic.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, but I
Can't use
still,
it.
So I want y'all, that critical juncture where this elderly man in the top left-hand corner specifically stated and talked about public health. I want you to go back and think about what Cole Beasley is saying and has stated, right? It's his choice. These are the choice people. You know what I'm saying? So the hell with the other 300 million people out there. You gonna make a choice that could defy this, the lie or affect the lives of 338 million Americans because you choose to do something that goes against the public health. I told y'all we're in the middle of a pandemic. This is a public health crisis. This is not an individual situation. This would be different if we were dealing with the flu, or if we were dealing with something else. We're dealing with a novel virus that has the ability to attack your body in multiple ways. This disease spreads from head to toe, limb to limb. It attacks your eyes, your nose, your mouth, your tongue, right? When I say your mouth, I'm saying your tongue. It attacks your fingers, your toes, your skin, your brain, your heart, your liver, your kidney, your lungs. It attacks all of that. Then it turns around and then it gives you diseases, or it gives you diabetes, erectile dysfunction, low sperm count. It infects you and it gives you all of those diseases you claim that the vaccine gives, like myocarditis. There's 256 symptoms. And we're sitting here and we're acting like this is not a reality just because you have an asymptomatic response. But yet you don't even know the long-term issues from your infection. You are under the assumption that I just got some mild symptoms. I feel fine. I just got some little mild symptoms. You don't know what the lingering effect of those symptoms are. Cole Beasley, you could develop some form of a breathing issue during this football season that can enhance. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't even know if you are going to develop, or you're one of the minority that will develop erectile dysfunction and have a low sperm count, because it doesn't show up within that first month. There's a threshold of after like 30 days to where this thing comes into play. You don't know that. You haven't had checks. You haven't gone to the hospital to check to see if you had any type of myocarditis or other things that affected your body negatively. You might come back to the football game and be short on breath, develop some type of lung issue, and then you have a bout with long COVID. You don't know that yet. And then you running around here, you promoting misinformation as if you writing exact about something, and you avoiding the fact that science is spoken on the case. Nature has already killed over 800 million, not 800 million, but 800,000 people. Infected over almost 300 million people or whatever, 7 billion people in the world. This virus is nowhere from being minimized to that of a common cold. We ain't even looking at an endemic. Our brother, I don't think in the chat, but our brother Cedric was like, "Yeah, we're turning the corner to an endemic." Y'all remember that he was on Pseudo Killers, and they had added me to the show, and Cedric was over there promoting and saying something about an endemic. Yeah, we're facing an endemic. And then I kept on saying, no, not so fast. And then here we are again We went from 60,000 infections in the United States to over 110,000 to 200,000 to 300 and something thousand infections in one day. In one freaking day. And that's crazy. And we know the death rate gonna jump. We know that's gonna happen. Let me put it back on the screen for everybody, man. Put it on the screen. So just taking a look at this again. On the 20th, there was 763,789 new cases in the world. If we go over a 3-month period to look at cases in the world, watch this number. Stay somewhere between, look, 3s and 4s, then a couple of 5s, 3s and 4s, then a couple of 5s. Then as Omicron comes into play, look what happens, an increase, slow increase, slow increase, slow increase, peaking. Is it peaking? We don't even know yet. We could vastly be approaching in the world 1 million infections a day. This is a day, ladies and gentlemen. This ain't a week. This is a day. Let's go look at deaths. Let's follow the pattern. Look at the deaths. 10,000 deaths on the 22nd of September. Watch. The deaths drop. They don't hit 10. They don't hit 10. They stay 679, 679, 679. We probably average about 7,000 deaths a day. Look, 4. Watch this. Omicron in the building. Omicron in the building now. Slow up. Oh, jump up. 10. Hadn't seen that in a while. Go down. And here come the waves following it. You can expect these to increase. So let's go to the United States. Let's get to the U.S. I passed it. My bad. Deaths, 2,000, 3,000. Then it got down. Look at that. It was 302 deaths on the 26th. That was real low. Averaging deaths per 7-day average, almost 2,000. Watch. The deaths, they're going to go down. They're going to go down. They're going to go. Drop. Look. Omicron in the building. 3228. Deaths on November 18th. Then watch them drop again. They're going to drop. They're going to drop. So it's like a 1,400 day of death. And then watch. It's here. So now it's there. But watch this. New cases. You see this spike? If you look at this over a 3-month period, you see this spike. Watch what come behind them 302,000 new infections. Watch what come behind them. Look at that. Since the summer, man. We had a spike when kids went back to school, and then it dropped down, and then it rose up a little bit. We get Omicron in the building, and what do we see? We see an increase. We knew this was going to happen. School was starting in between this gap right here. So we knew that we would see an increase because kids, it would factor into it. And then all of that happened. Same thing with the deaths. Look, same thing with the deaths. See, at this period of point in the summertime, people have been vaccinated. People were vaccinated. The vaccines was working and it was preventing death. So you will see a low volume of death and a low volume of infections. Of infections. but you still had people. And then it just rise to the occasion. During that again, that back to school part, then it would narrow on down. And now we're at that threshold to where we're about to see this mug jump. Watch. I guarantee you, in about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it's going to jam up. And don't let the hospitals get packed. When the hospitals get packed, it's a wrap. 275 million cases, 5 million deaths. And here it is, 808,000 right here. And I get this number should be a lot higher. Because if I go to that other site where I got the thing at, it's going, the world meter. The world meter gonna tell us. Oh, this ain't gonna tell me. My bad, y'all. I'm tripping. This ain't even what I actually use. Give me a second here. Let me see what y'all talking about in the chat. We got look at all the vaccine doses. It's a whole lot. It's 100 million people that ain't vaccinated though. And that's an issue. So look, man, January 7th, Chill Talk. It's a Friday. Dr. Benita Poe gonna be in the building. She gonna be, part of the conversation, and we're gonna get it cracking. Chill Talk. Atlanta to 22nd. That's a Saturday. You're gonna see the flyers circulating regarding that. It's gonna be a lot going on. The U.S. has 810,000 deaths. It's actually more than that. Excuse me. It's actually more than that. And for the people who don't want to believe it and be like, well, where's the science in that? Let me just help y'all out with something real quick. There was an underreporting and the potential of over 100,000 or so, 140. I forgot what the science says, but I got the source somewhere in one of my little backup things. But that there was an undercounting of COVID deaths. Because earlier on in the pandemic, they didn't know how to list these deaths because they didn't know what the hell COVID was at that time. And that hasn't been taken into consideration at all whatsoever. However, it is what it is at this particular juncture. So, Cole Beasley, you need to follow the science and not just stupidity, my guy. I ain't a Bills fan, so he can miss the rest of the year. Yeah, out of that total, 0.002% of the deaths are in the vaccinated. 99.98% of the people were unvaccinated in that death chart. So out of 810,000 that Johns Hopkins have, 99.98% were unvaccinated. What y'all got for me, man? Let me see what the comments saying. And I have still not found someone who was against the vaccine to purchase my book and want to come on here and talk about it. I haven't found anyone that wanted to actually do that. If you haven't, Pure, have you got your copy of what Sars Cov2 taught me? I don't think you do. I don't think Donnie, I don't think you do either. Why y'all ain't got y'all copy, man? I know Sutek. Why y'all ain't got y'all copy? I'm pressing the issue, man. He said, we talking about snow bunny shine. Nah, boy crazy. Nah, we ain't talking about the bunnies. Yeah, why not? Ain't no, all you gotta do is click on the link, bro. What we talking about? What we waiting on? You need to get the book, Donnie. Get the book, Donnie. That's I know I'm the source, but you get the book, it's much better. There's a trend that you're a revolutionary if you fight against the government information. That ain't revolutionary at all. That's revolution ignorant. That's dumb. Why would you fight against science? Science has nothing to do with the government. I mean, I understand if you do fight against the government, yeah, be smart about it, but that ain't got nothing to do with the middle of a pandemic. And you know what I'm saying? For the people that are standing out there like that, they crazy. Oh, they talking about bunnies, not me. Okay, so William is in the chat and he's saying, let me see what William's saying. Hey, William, I put the link in the chat, bro. If you want to join the panel and build, if you got some questions, comments, or concerns, you wanna chop it up, the link is in the chat. It says your estimations are unbalanced and you sound like the sheep listening to the media. No disrespect to the media, but let's use common sense. Common sense is not common. So let me show you how common sense is flawed in science. What you think is common sense wherever you're from may not be common sense where I'm from. As an example of that would be, let me see, let me give you a good example, right? Let's see, for instance, if I say something about well, the rap game gonna help you with that, so I can't use that as an analogy, how people see the police or whatever. That wouldn't be a good analogy, but where I'm from, people like to drink Kool-Aid, right? Tropical Punch might be their favorite Kool-Aid. But where you from, they might not even drink Kool-Aid at all. Or y'all might even call it something else. Like down here, we have something called Creature Cooler. Where you from, you might not even have no Creature Cooler. But it's common sense to everybody where I'm from what Creature Cooler is. So I'm like, hey man, go to the store and give me a Creature Cooler. You gonna be like, if I told you, William, to go get me a Creature Cooler, you're gonna be like, what the hell is a Creature Cooler? But everybody around here know what it is. It's common sense. It's common to the people in the environment that they're in. But if I go to where you are in your neck of the woods or whatnot, you might say soda. I might say cold drink. And then I'd be like, man, what the hell is a soda? Everybody around gonna laugh like, you don't know what a soda is, bro? It's common sense. So exactly, freeze cups. They're gonna be like, what the hell is a freeze cup? You know what I'm saying? So it's not common sense. And my estimations are not my estimations, bro. I deal with actual. I don't know if you're talking about me or you talking to the people in the chat, but I deal with the actual data. Make sure you get the total of people who have been vaccinated and still got COVID. I know how many people did that. That has nothing to do with the numbers. The amount of people who've been fully vaccinated and still got COVID is very low. 99.98% of the hospitalizations and deaths have occurred in the unvaccinated group. How many have been vaccinated? He says, make sure you get the total of people who have been vaccinated and still got COVID and still died. And it's still early. It hasn't been 2 years yet. Numbers that imbalance because it's still early. That's your math is very wrong, and your understanding of science is very off. And I mean, no disrespect to you, brother, but I don't know what you're reading. You just not reading. You're not reading the science. So when you made that comment that you made it 10 minutes ago, that's just asinine. No wonder they're saying what they're saying to you in the chat because you're unaware of the real data. The deaths and hospitalizations are occurring in the unvaccinated. That began over the summer. The more people that got vaccinated, the more we began to see that the vaccines was working because the unvaccinated were becoming hospitalized and dying. They became the majority of the hospitalizations and deaths. The vaccines is preventing way more. So that 0.02% or 0.002%, it don't matter which way we want to shape it, it's far better than 99%. The vaccines are doing their job, despite variant differences or variants of concern, I should say. And shout out to Thurman, man. I see you up there, bro. I ain't forget you, bro. Chime in, Boca. Yeah, for those of you who think you don't really need the book, man, you need to get the book, bro. All right, so I'm about to argue with Unc about this military vaccine that they're creating. He talking about for all variants of concern. Like, bro, that don't mean anything, man. It's a good thing that they're creating a vaccine or testing a vaccine that will, be good for all variants of concern, right? Just one vaccine, but that has nothing to do with if a new variant mutates and adapts, and that vaccine is not prepared to defend against it, and what. But this is just us arguing over it, and not really an argument, a conversation. He said, "Whoever that is you argue with smoking mids." That's dude in the chat. His name is William. Where you at? What's your name again? William. I think that's supposed to be Royals, but the brother didn't want to come on the panel. He basically told me that y'all got too many paid people and uneducated people who are not in this field putting it work and helping people, but we are out here. Mother Nature works and science. We can do better, y'all. I'm confused, William, in what you were saying in that comment. And then let me go back. I don't think you said nothing else. Y'all got too many paid people and educated people who are not in this field putting in work and helping people, but we are out here. Mother Nature works and science. Mother Nature, yeah, we know Mother Nature works. Mother Nature is trying to kill you. Mother Nature is trying to kill you. So what are y'all talking about? You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to understand that. Science work. Science is trying to defend itself. So much for natural. Yeah, natural will knock you out of here. And he's absolutely. Well, I don't know. He made that comment. He made the comment at like 10:59, and none of y'all said anything. That will work against not just the existing strains. Quit crying, man. Nobody want to hear nothing about that old military stuff you trying to push. I'm not arguing with anybody at this juncture. He was in the chat earlier on and he had made some comments, but he hadn't made any comments since then. So I think that he don't want no smoke. Oh yeah, mad the Ravens lost, yeah. Let me hold on. Let me argue with real quick. Give me a second, y'all. I'm finna turn it up. If you sleep, I'm finna wake your ass up. I'm finna go to work on what's his Abjuel as email. Abjuel. Yeah. I'm sending it to him twice. Abjuel. Let's get on here. We finna get on here and argue about his little. Yeah, the Ravens are trash. Come get beat up. I'm finna beat Unc up, y'all. So no, he ain't. He ain't sleep. He been texting me the whole time. The whole time I'm talking to y'all, I just ain't been responding to him. Bruh said I'm finna grab me a drink out the Frigidaire. At the Frigidaire. If you depend on nature for the cure, whatever ails you, science has taken that to the next level. Correct. Absolutely. And this is the fear that people have, that the Big East and Big 12 both have cancellations after positive COVID tests. The NBA could shift Christmas game times as late as Christmas Eve. Wow. So y'all got used to watching basketball on Christmas? It might not happen. Eagles sustain playoff hopes will win over. Yeah. I just sent Unc the link. I don't think he gonna hop on though, y'all. He don't want no smoke, I'm telling y'all. Man, y'all should see the data on. Well, you should see how the brain is infected with COVID. Like, you should watch the video where they show you like the 3D images of COVID affecting the brain, actually the whole body. That joke is crazy. And now I ain't finna play it for y'all, but it's crazy. People be making up stuff, man. They be paired and stuff all day long. That's why I don't be listening to that dude. Dr. Campbell dude. He be having some weird stuff on there. You know, let me do something real quick. Hold on, y'all. I gotta do something. No, so why is no shit showing up? Them anti-vaxxers is looking. Tyreek Hill catches COVID though. What y'all gonna do about that, man? When these people start costing your teams opportunities and you're in the middle of a Super Bowl run and they catching COVID. And I guarantee you this ain't what's his name? Cole Beasley's first bout with COVID. I bet you he's had it before. Who want to bet money Cole Beasley had COVID before? And they just ain't told nobody. Yeah, the Nets are allowing Kyrie to come back to play away games. And that may not be successful. Having Kyrie come back and play away games because he can't play at home. I don't think that's going to be successful at all. At all. Yeah, Dr. Campbell gets a ton of views because anti-vaxxers like to use him to argue. Like, for instance, I can show you on a video here, and they be misinterpreting some of the things that he's saying, and they like, well, this doctor's saying this, but what about the other 75,000 doctors out there, or the doctors that are actually doing these studies? What about what they saying? So you just and stop listening to listen. Vince Racking Yellow will tell you in a heartbeat, do not listen to him. He will tell you in a heartbeat, do not listen to me. He would immediately tell you, follow the science. So with all of these people, right, so concerned with what Dr. Campbell is saying, and they're sharing his videos and misrepresenting his data or what he's saying at times, they're following a human being. They're appealing to authority because the data says one thing and he might say another, because this whole thing about vaccine aspirations comes from him. And so 5 days ago, this sister continues to comment on this particular post. I don't even know if it's still here anymore, if I can see it. I can't even see it on this. Yep, the video loaded up. I don't know who would delete the comment, but let me see if I can get to the comment, or she might just block my YouTube page, which is fine with me. I don't care. Nope, it ain't showing a comment. That's interesting. We got 6 comments over there. Where'd they go? All right. Let me see if I could trace it. Track it down. She might have ended up deleting it after I called her out on it. But I did not say myocarditis is an issue for me. Yeah, you did. You didn't say it was a direct issue for you. You was coming up with craziness. They put forward mitigation suggestions in regards to vaccine injury. Immunization. See, this is what I'm saying. She's pushing. What the hell vaccine? Who been complaining about vaccine injury? Show me a source to complain about vaccine injury. Like, she deleted a comment, so therefore it's just showing that there was 6 here. It's no longer here anymore. So she kind of ran from the smoke. Now, Wujawu ain't the one that I was talking about earlier today. He wasn't the one who was infected and then got the vaccine. I can't confirm to you that Saber Wujawu has gotten his vaccine. However, I can confirm with you that another brother, Anthony, he was infected with COVID. He ended up getting his vaccine. That's who did it. Graham was I think he got from the family out there. So that's that on that. So I've only watched one of his videos. Oh yeah. I'm not saying don't watch his videos, but he do get hella views, and most of them be those anti-vaxxers. They're looking for a reason not to get vaccinated, and Dr. Campbell never says don't get vaccinated. He is a proponent for it, but he also is saying something about aspirations, which actually makes no sense. There's no need for aspirations. That is why I did the myocarditis video, and I talked about aspirations because it was useless. You're talking about aspirations. Aspirations can cause more damage in children than it can anywhere else. So it's totally ignorance from those people. And it is what it is at that point. But he said, "Woo straddling the fence." He could be. He could be. I just can't confirm, y'all. I don't know. Well, ain't nobody heard from him. The last time I heard from him, I think that he was trying to handle some business for himself and get some things situated. That he needed to get situated. You know what I mean? With some plans that he has, and hopefully he can achieve those plans shortly, and we would be abreast to those plans. I mean, we would hear from Wu when he's ready. And honestly, we still wait on the grammar book from Wu. He said, "Forget that, Wu are anti-vax." Oh no, you know what I'm saying? Oh no, I ain't going that far. I mean, you can, you got the right to. You got the right to do that. Yeah, I ain't gonna trip on you at all. Let me see what it says. He seems to just repeat articles. I thought he was an anti-vax before watching the video, just based on the views. Yeah, most people think that he's anti-vax because he has a doctor by his name. But if you go and look up at what kind of doctor he is, maybe that'll give you more clarity. But most of the stuff that he actually reads on it doesn't really have anything to really do with anything. Like he takes the science and he sometimes try to give his perspective. But that's the problem. He's the only one on his channel talking about it. Whereas when I deal with like Vincent Racaniello, he's usually, when he does 12, he's got 4 or 5 different perspectives, 6 different perspectives on that. And it's not just him talking. The only time that Vincent Racaniello is on a stream and he's talking by himself about the subject matter and the data is when he's teaching his class. And he's teaching it based off a curriculum, not dealing with scientific articles. When he gets into certain scientific articles and he does COVID QAs, he has Amy on the show with him. And then when he does his series 12, like I said, he has 4, 5, 6 people sometimes on the panel with him about the said subject. So it's not his opinion. And they're all discussing the scientific data that has been recently published, and then they give their perspectives on it. And then if they disagree, they express their disagreements. If they agree, they express that. So it is what it is when it comes down to those things. And I just really think that people aren't abreast to that. And it's kind of crazy, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of crazy. But I don't really too much get into it. Yeah, but see, the same thing that he doing, we doing over here. We get the scientific articles too. We get all the work. You know what I'm saying? What we've done though is we've gotten better at interpreting the data and trying to communicate that out with people. So we've been able to analyze it and to hit on the high points of certain said studies, and we pull that, or we extract that out, because you got to think about it. For Black people, we and no offense to anyone else, but for Black people, we only care about, are we gonna die or are we gonna live, and is it gonna affect us directly or not? You know what I'm saying? In some instances. And so those hot button questions, we need to know how to extract that and speak to that. And then when we get into the numbers and things like that, you know exactly what we're referring to and how we're handling business. But that's what we like to do. And it's very, very tempting for an anti-vaxxer to get caught up into Dr. Campbell, because I don't know why, but the sister, she used Dr. Campbell as a reference point, and I'm like, he don't even deal with nobody, and that's what you can't do in science. One person doesn't make it right or be the authority. The data is scrutinized by all scientists. If you only got one person hitting on something, then he's saying this. But see, Campbell was talking about Omicron and the data that came out on that. And you know what I'm saying? And he was, he's for things, but he's vaccinated. So I don't know what they run over there for. I guess they run over there looking for aspirations. If you ain't got vaxxed after this long, you basically anti-vaxxer. Sutek is, listen, Wujaru, I know you might be listening right now and you ain't saying much of nothing. But Sutek Akande, Ayanu Oluwa, is at your neck. You better show Sutek your vaccination card. You better let them know you done found that Moderna somewhere in Lithonia, Georgia. It took you a few months, but you found it. You better let him know, Woo. Come on, man. Hop on this panel and box them up, Woo. I know you out there listening, trying to act like you busy and all that. We know you ain't busy, bro. We know you sleep is for the week. Emmy Cat, where you at? Wake him, you know what I mean? Tap him. Emmy Cat, he ain't doing nothing. Tap him and let him know. Sleep for the week. Pull a vaccination card out. Take a picture. We coming for everybody, man. You know what I'm saying? You ain't off limits. Super Woo. He might be live on Facebook though, man. You know what I'm saying? Check him out. I put the link in the chat again, man. You know what I'm saying? For those of you. Oh, by the way, man, dude in the chat named Travis McCrary, he got a book out. Well, he dropped a book on the 30th of November of this month. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna promote his book yet because I thought I was pre-ordering the book and I'm gonna get my book before everybody else, but you know what I'm saying? He ain't even releasing the pre-orders until the 30th, so it looked like I'm on hold. So I ain't promoting the dude book until I get my book. You know what I'm saying? That's how I'm rocking. I don't know, man. Is Wu not okay? Hold up. I just got a message. Most people with Omicron is not vaccinated. Then why do people say this? Now I'm talking about he in bed. Sleep for the week. Most people with Omicron is not vaccinated. He don't want to argue, man. I don't want a text message. I ain't finna text you all night arguing with you, man. Get on this panel and get rocked, bruh. He said I'm weak. Take your weak ass to bed before I'm finna tell Unc. Yeah. Man, ain't nobody talking about you gonna say. I could have already had my book, bro. Matter of fact, Kofi, where you at, Kofi? I know you still online. Where you at, Kofi? Order me one of them's. Order me one of them's, and then I'll send you the one of them's. The money for the one of them's. I already ordered a copy. You know what I'm saying? Send me one of them's. Wu holding metal nature Zoom classes with York and his cellmate. Oh, that boy crazy, bro. So they say. He said that boy said Wu hold a metal nature class, Zoom class with York and his cellmate. Getting him right, ain't it? Getting him right up in there, man. Hey, man, I don't know nothing about that, bro. I don't know nothing about that. I ain't talking nothing, but that ain't none of my business. That ain't none of my business, man. I don't know nothing about no dissing going on, man. I'm dissing anti-vaxxers. That's the only dissing I'm talking about. I'm dissing anti-vaxxers. I seen a picture with somebody talking about. Hold up, where y'all at? Oh, they didn't ate at the little spot. Hold on, let me hit up. Okay, Kofi. So y'all went back to the little church. They went back to the church and ate. That's why Kofi ain't on here no more. His daughter-in-law birthday today. Happy birthday. You know, favoring you and your moms. Yep. Kofi and them. Hey, look. Kofi took me to a restaurant with a when I was in Mississippi. Kofi took me to a restaurant, right? So we go to the restaurant and there's a big cross in front of the restaurant. I'm finna find it for y'all. Hold on. Let me show. I gotta share this with y'all. I bull crap y'all not, man. This restaurant had the biggest cross in the world. They would have a whole church at that joker. Mayflower, Parlors. Let me look at the map. 55 go that way, so it's got to be somewhere over here. Yeah, Pearl. Let me zoom down where that Pearl at. Okay, there's let me see, Harvest Fish Hut. Is it Harvest Fish Hut? Moss Creek Fish House. Wait till I find it, y'all. I'm gonna show y'all where Kofi took me. It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing, y'all. Wait till I find it. Nah, that ain't it. Hold on. Let me call Kofi. Kofi trying to act. He trying to act like he ain't listening. Oh, he gonna answer.
Hello?
Told you he gonna answer. Kofi, what's the name of that restaurant?
Berry Seafood.
Berry Seafood.
Mm-hmm.
Berry Hill Seafood.
Berry who?
What's it? Is it Berry's Restaurant, Mississippi, right?
Jackson, Mississippi.
Jackson, Mississippi. Berry Seafood.
You got one in Mendenhall. I think it's one in Mendenhall. No, one in McGee and one in Florence, which is in Jackson.
Okay.
Florence, Mississippi.
Okay. All right. I'm finna talk about you. All right. Gotta go. I gotta talk to my people. All right. Let me show y'all where Kofi took me, y'all. Can y'all see the screen? Yeah, y'all can see the screen. Okay, so this is Berry Seafood and Cat, and this is it right here. This the place. Okay. Let me try to see if I could get the images up though. Let's say Florence. Nah, man, this ain't gonna work. I need the embarrassed seafood. Let me do this the real way. Berry seafood. Let me see if I get the images up. Okay. No, that ain't gonna work. Berry seafood. Jackson, Mississippi. Watch this. Wait till y'all see the images, bro. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. Watch this. Y'all thought I was playing. This is what Kofi took me. This is what Kofi took me, y'all. This is what my brother took me. I ain't know where I was going. I'm just following him. I just got to Jackson. This man took me right here. Oh, let me zoom in. He took me to the restaurant with this big ass cross in it. William, you can click the you can click the link, bro. Click the link in the chat, bro. I'll put it back in there in a minute. But this is what Kofi took me. Country buffet, seafood and catfish. He took me right here. Okay. And when you go in here, right, soon as you go through the little barn, before you go in the building, like these doors right here, before you go in there, they got all kind of scriptures. You see, it's got a cross on the yeah. They got scriptures and all kind of stuff here. And it be packed. And that's how people be eating. They be loading that thing up in there. Desserts and all. But this, you know what I'm saying? Like, this the feel though. It be the straight up country vibe. You eat out of 10 plates, 10 cups. Like you in the country. Bull joke you not. Look at the table right there, bro. They got look, cross on the table and all that. It's church in that joke. I ain't even gonna lie to you, man. That's what Kofi took me. I felt so disrespected. But I was hungry. And he tried to prepare me. But now look, bruh. Where we finna go now? I ain't gonna lie to you. It's more religious. But they got some good food. Kofi ate like 4 plates. I ain't even gonna lie. I'm talking about we pulled up from the side. I wasn't even paying attention to the cross. And then I seen that cross. I like, man, it's the biggest thing out here. It was huge. That's where he took me though. Yep. That's where he took me. That's how Kofi rocking when you come to Mississippi. He gonna take you to places like this. And you see creme brulee on here? They ain't got no creme brulee in there. So I don't even know why they showing that even on the images. They ain't got no dang on creme brulee. They got a big ass cross. He said, did I order the fish and leaven bread? No, sir. They had some fried tomatoes, mashed potatoes, macaroni and cheese. They had the little hush puppies, sweet potatoes. They had some food, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. They did. They had frog legs. If you eat that stuff, they had that. Uh, they had whatever this is right here, that pudding cake. They had that. Like they loaded up. Like it was for real deal. They had everything. All the cooks black. All the cooks black. All the cashiers white. People who waited the table was white and females. But everybody around the food, they was black. I felt like it was slick racist. But that's where we went. And then I ate it, and the next day after the football game, I ate at a nice little new restaurant. I don't know if it was black owned or not. I don't think I confirmed that. But they incidentally had creme brulee, and I got 2 of them jokers. But yeah, when y'all go see Kofi, man, he gonna pull up on you, man. He gonna take it. Make sure you take you to Bears, man. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you got your Bible with you and all that. You don't get a little church in you. Let me get to let's get to look at Tremors in the chat. Look at Tremor. Tremor ate there. That would Tremor be, she be going on dates there. Go on, tell him, Tremor. What William at? There go the link, bro. Come on here, man, before I get off, bro. Said I want to visit Jackson. Isn't it? Yeah, the majority of Jackson is black. It's a lot of black-owned restaurants too. I want to go back because I want to go to this spot by the campus. This old spot owned by this black man. It's like a burger joint, but he got a vegan burger there that's like a tomato. I mean, not a tomato, but I forgot what he make it out of. It's plant-based. It ain't like plant-based, but it's like with mushroom. It's a he made his vegan burgers are mushroom burgers. I gotta have one of them. He grill it and all that. Chavis said, I know they ain't got no creme brulee. He said, I want all the smoke with that food though. Where that at again? Shit, call me Bigsby. Yeah, that's Berry Seafood in Jackson, Mississippi. Double R says, is that Jabari's new comedic Christian restaurant? Facts. I'm not sure how to get on the link. If not, I'm already on it. I'm not disagreeing with you. Just want to hear more solutions other than a shot. You got to connect your devices. His devices is not connected yet. He hit the link, but he ain't connected devices. So he talking about more solutions, bro. It don't get no. I'll wait till he get all the way in here. I can't add him to the stream yet because he hadn't added his audio. Then he just dropped out. Yeah, Stamps. That's the name of it. Stamps. Yep. They got a portobello mushroom burger. That I got to have that. It's vegan. Ain't nothing on there but the portobello, and then whatever you want to get on there, you grill it up. Absolutely, I gotta have that. That's fire. I already know it's fire. Yeah, I'm on StreamYard. I ain't on Zoom. He said, Zion said, what's a salad? Sean be going on all that 5 southern food spots for a salad. I do, bro. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Because I don't eat none of the meat. Unfortunately, I don't eat none of the meat, bro. I only ate once today. Let me make sure I ain't lying. Yeah, I ate once today. I had 2 smoothies, though. I had some money on my Uber Eats card, so I've been ordering. I want some Uber Eats gift cards from my job. So I just been ordering smoothies. I drank them, 2 of them. I be full like a mug. But the last couple of days though, I only ate like once a day. The last 3 days. Says that's cool, but you can always visit or jump from Ireland to the States. Oh, okay. Yeah, man. Hey, real talk. I'm telling you, you go to Jackson, you be all right. You be all right. Credit Karma, you got outstanding approval rates. He said, I just ate right now. I had some watermelon a few hours ago. Yeah, it's too late to be eating right now. That boy said you eat like an NOI melon. No, sir. Hey, Walter, where you at, bro? You can hit this link, bro. Stop acting like you can't hit this link, bro. And I'll tell you right now, there's no other solution. The vaccine is the safest way to fight a novel virus, bro. It's the fastest way. So for anyone saying something about you're looking for other ways to protect yourself, the vaccine is the safest way. You can't even beat that argument. And the reason that I can say that is based on the data. Soon as I tell you that 99.98% of the people are hospitalized and dying are in the unvaccinated group, it's over. The vaccinated group has curbed it. They turned it into a pandemic of the unvaccinated. And the breakthrough infections is not a lot of them breakthrough infections that are leading to some type of hospitalization or death. They're very few. And we even did the data on that once before, where the majority of those that had experienced breakthroughs was over 65. And there was like 48% or 50-some percent of them was females. Yeah, when I'm in, I even got a little spot. Like I stay like right downtown Jackson, in the heart of the ghetto. Nah, it ain't the heart of. I wouldn't say right there where I was at was the heart of the ghetto. It was a nice little restaurant, but Bias said he had a breakthrough. Yeah, and they happened. How long was you sick though, Bias? That's what people don't realize. That's how far the vaccine is. He says they've been having water issues. We're hoping that the infrastructure bill will help fix the problem. Hopefully, the Republicans that run the state use the federal money to fix their water issues. Oh, yeah, Jackson, yep. They had water issues when it was cold during like January, February, earlier this year. And they went without water. About 5 to 7 days. Oh, yeah, you tripping, bro. What vaccine you get? Which shot did you have on Bias? Because you should have cleared that in 3 days, bro. William is back. This time he got speaker and he got his camera. And we about to get to work. Yeah, that's why you had Pfizer. See, Moderna, we don't do that over here on the Moderna guys. Hey, you got to mute your YouTube, bro.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. You got to mute your YouTube.
I got to mute the YouTube?
This time he got speaker. Yeah.
Okay.
Camera.
This is my first time doing this, brother. So I'm not.
Yeah, you good. You good. Don't worry about none of that. You just got to make sure that you mute the YouTube because we got an echo or feedback.
Oh, okay. Hello? Okay. Hopefully we don't get cut off.
No. We won't. If you mute YouTube out, me and you could talk without the interruption. So now we're direct.
Got you. All right. Can you see me, bro?
Man, I can see you. I can hear you. You know what I'm saying? Everything's shining. You good to go.
All right. Great. Well, this is my first time listening to you, bro. So I don't want anything that I'm saying because I know people are going to sit
Nah,
up
you
here.
good, man. I know it's your first time. I never seen you before, so
Yeah.
you,
So
you, you good.
my brother Chris Kida, he linked me on to him. Me and him, we go back and forth all the time. But I want to say this first to anybody that's listening to me. Listen, I'm a 4-year cancer survivor. Okay,
Hey,
stage
congrats.
4 cancer. So I chose this pathway of life of being a naturopath, learning from Dr. Sabi and an elder of mine by the name of Chris Williams. So anything that I'm going to say, I'm speaking from my experience, not from anybody else. Okay. What you're doing, I respect 1000%. Now, I may have my disagreements as you may have about mine. But my whole thing is about solutions. If anybody takes this vaccine, don't be stupid after you do it. That's been my biggest thing. I get a lot of complaints when people hear that and they go into, oh, you're anti-vaxxer, this and that. I'm not anti anything. I'm anti-stupidity. Don't be stupid, because there's still people out here that's making bad decisions, thinking that all they need is this shot and that's it. And they go back to doing to the same thing or going back to the same thing that got them sick in the first place. That's my biggest concern. We both, natural and scientific, have to work together. I'm not disagreeable about taking a vaccine. I haven't taken it. Now, I'm going to be real about that. But if you take it, don't be stupid. Don't do the same thing that got you sick. It's just like getting cancer. If you know what you get, how you got cancer, don't do the same thing that got you sick in the first place. That's just backwards. That's why I meant when I said common sense ain't common, not what you were saying. So I apologize about that. And I'm saying,
no, that's fair.
Yeah, some people.
No, you ain't gotta apologize, bro. No, it's fair. It's fair.
Gratitude. That's just the Muslim in me, man. I'm always humble. But what you're speaking on, I agree with, and I think I got on a little bit too. I got on late, so I didn't see everything, and I wasn't speaking necessarily to you. I was speaking to some of the people that was.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm speaking. I just people need to be educated. I feel just like this vaccine, what it's supposed to do, I'm agreeable with it. But I've had 5 people that have taken that shot, bro, and died. You understand? So it hits you.
You had no. Hold on. Let's not go too far. Let's slow down.
I'm just telling you my story.
Right. Let's stay right there. You said you had 5 people get vaccinated and died.
Yes.
So here, no. Hold on. Just so you, because we got to be clear on this. When people say that, this is where we gotta make sure that we're okay with it. Now, what I might ask you, you may not know the answer to, and it's fine to just say that you don't know. But if you do know, then it would be helpful for everyone that's listening to you. So just let me ask just a couple questions, and then I'm gonna let you continue to build, because
yes,
we ain't gonna be arguing none of that. So we you'll find out that there was something that you said earlier on I actually like. So the 5 people that actually died, do you know when those 5 people were vaccinated?
Yes, because it became an argument about them getting vaccinated.
No, hold on. So let's say, were they fully vaccinated, or were they in between vaccine dosages?
I believe 2. I'm saying this. I know 1 for sure, but I believe 2 were fully vaccinated.
Okay. Now, when you say that let's just say hypothetically, the 2 that were vaccinated do you know which vaccines the 2 had, or all 5? Johnson and Johnson. Okay. So would that be all 5 or just the 2?
The 2 of them had gotten fully vaccinated. The other ones, I'm not sure if they were fully vaccinated or not. I cannot quote that.
Okay. What state?
Illinois.
What part of Illinois?
Chicago.
Okay.
And I have a few people now that are still alive One is having heart issues.
How long have they had heart issues?
For the last 4 months.
All right.
Now I know you were stating your statement. This is the reason why.
Yeah. So do you know? Okay. So when did this occur? Like what month?
The last one was in October.
October.
The last death was in October.
What about the other ones?
The other ones was early in the summer. And this is why I said you can't do the stupid once you get this. That was the thing I wanted to say before you cut me off respectfully.
No. Yeah. All right. So let's deal with what we both agree on, the stupid, right? So okay. So let's just say that all 5 of these people, I can look up the deaths in October and see who were fully vaccinated and actually died. But I want to see if you're going to tell me, were they elderly people or were they young?
They were young. The oldest one was in the young 50s.
Okay. Oh, okay. So they were in the 50s.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And they had, so we're going to say Johnson & Johnson is the latest thing that we know about these people.
Yes, sir.
All right. So let's just talk about specifically about what you said. Don't be stupid. I agree with don't be stupid. Here's why I agree with don't be stupid. I'm fully vaccinated and I wear 2 masks. All right.
Yes, sir.
I have mRNA. I have the mRNA vaccine. Now, the reason that I have that, not saying that Johnson & Johnson is a bad vaccine, but Johnson & Johnson still protects over 70% against hospitalization and deaths. It's not the best of the best, but it protects against hospitalizations and deaths. And according to a series of breakthrough infections by deaths and age, there's a CDC report regarding information for October in that. And there's a chart that I actually have that can break that down even further, and even going back into the summer. So when I look at Chicago specifically, as far as the data, you know, a lot of those people one dose things, but this is the issue with the one dose thing. They could have got the vaccine on Monday. They could have been infected with COVID-19 on Thursday. The vaccine has to run its course, meaning you don't get full protection until after a threshold of days, right? So with Johnson & Johnson, even after vaccinated, you still have 21 days before your body develops some type of immune response to protect it against a vaccine. So, for instance, if someone was to say on July the 10th, July the 10th, that I'm fully vaccinated, and then on the 21st or the 30th, they're dead, right? They have contracted the virus. That means they have not mounted any type of response. Now, I guarantee you, based on what you're saying, if I'm just taking you at face value, I'm not saying you're lying or anything like that. If we take your examples of the 5 people that you just stated, you said the youngest of them all was 50. So that means
the oldest
is 50.
Yes, sir. Yes.
How old is the youngest?
The youngest was, I believe, 26 or 27.
All right. So in July, more than 150 people have died and nearly 600 have been hospitalized in Illinois due to COVID-19 and breakthrough cases after they were fully vaccinated, according to the state health officials. So according to the data that was updated on that Wednesday by the Illinois Department of Public Health, 159 people in Illinois have died to COVID-19 or complications after being fully vaccinated. That figure equates to 2.3% of the COVID-19 deaths in the state since January 1st. So I wanted to make this known to everybody. Even if he gives us 5 of the 150 deaths, all right, that was 2.3% of the COVID deaths in the state since January 1st. which means that 98% of the or 97.7% or 98.7% of the deaths, or 97.7% of the deaths were in unvaccinated people in Chicago. So even if we give him 5 deaths, right, of the 150 people, right, we can deal with that. That's 2.3% since January. Okay. So the rest of the deaths were all unvaccinated people. So when he says don't be stupid, this is what I'm hearing. After you get vaccinated, you still need to protect yourself. That's wear a mask, social distance.
Yes.
Make sure that you're washing your hands.
Yes.
You're still eating healthy, exercise, and you're doing the normal things that you would actually need to do to protect your sanity. That's what I hear when he says that. You okay? You agree with me?
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. I'm pushing that. Yes.
Okay. Now, that's what I hear when you say that, and I agree with that assessment. Yes, we still need to. Now, at the height of it all, Delta became the dominant variant around the summertime. So I'm not going to push your 5 deaths away and say, prove it. I'm not going to say that. I'm not. No. Hear me out. Hear me out. I'm not going to say that. What I'm going to say, based on the information that you gave me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could see 5 deaths if it's Johnson & Johnson, and the Delta variant is prevalent because the Delta variant took vaccine efficacy from 76% or whatever it was down to like 50 something percent. So people basically had a 54% chance of breakthrough, right? I mean, not 54, but you know what I'm saying. Reverse the math and deal with it that way. But people's chances of a breakthrough infection was higher who all got the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, and this is true. The Delta variant spread was more infectious and more and had more breakthrough abilities because of Johnson & Johnson's weaknesses to stop certain things.
Right.
All right. Now, on the flip side of that, I'm gonna say this. This is why vaccine education is important, because had you just understood what mRNA technology brought to the table versus the adenoviral vector vaccine of Johnson & Johnson, you would have had more protection, specifically, the efficacy rates. This is where the science for me comes in. The Delta at the time, and I'm dealing with Illinois, the Delta at the time was spreading at a 225% rate. That was faster than the original strand, which means for people in Illinois, they took it as a joke.
Yes.
All right.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so we're there. Now, here is where the disconnect comes in at. We agree on a big portion, where I'm rocking with you here, but here's where we disagree when we bring Sabian to the equation, but that's a different topic I don't want to deal with.
I know.
I want to deal with Sabian. What I want to deal with, though, is that you are a cancer survivor, which makes you immunocompromised. Potentially immunocompromised, meaning even if you were vaccinated, you still would risk not having some type of protection against the infection. Against the vaccine, because you're a cancer survivor. Your treatments, all the things that you have gone against will make you immunocompromised. So your immune system could be altered. But if you were ever infected, it can trigger an irregular response, which could be severe.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, yeah, I said this in the chat, and I'm going to say it again, but my book would actually do you justice because it it will walk you through certain processes and instances of the scientific data which you may agree. Now, I was once on the whole Dr. Sebi thing. So I know what trip you on. I've been down that road. I was fasting. I still fast. I fast every Friday. I do nothing but, you know what I mean, spring water. I'm hella big on that. I eat fruits, vegetables, no meats. Right? I still do that. I do all of those things. Exercise, I do all of those things. But what I've learned is that, well, let me ask you this first. Do you think that Sebi actually cured some of the things that he said he cured?
Personally, from my experience and from what I practice, I believe so.
Okay. What you think he cured? Which diseases do you think he cured?
I'm not going to say he cured anything. I want to make sure that that's clear. I think that what Dr. Sebi did was teach people about the things that they were around on a healthier side of things to help
made them more health conscious.
Yes.
Okay, I would agree with that.
That's what I give him credit for. I don't think anybody. I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No. I was just saying that I agree with that. That I would give him credit for making people more health conscious. Now, at the rate of what he did and some of the claims, I don't give him credit for any of those claims because he never did any blood work to substantiate if he cleared any virus or diseases that he was dealing with a lot of those patients that he had down there at what's the name of the place? Yeah. So that's something that I don't stand on or stand with in that part. No HIV, no diabetes, none of that stuff.
I respect,
you know what I mean?
I respect
I would say that treating certain ailments like symptoms, he did some things that could that could treat certain ailments. But as far as preventing and curing, nah. He never.
I respect that. I respect.
He never had any lab work.
Right.
But
I respect
back to our point. Because I don't think we really gonna have any disagreements here. How much do you know about Sars Cov2?
I'm still not learned like I should be when it comes to that. That's why I asked the questions, because you have to study to show yourself prudent and right and exact. So I won't say that I'm learned in it. I'm still learning.
Gotcha.
So I definitely want that book, bro. I definitely want that book.
Yeah. I don't know if you can see it. I can drop it again in the chat.
I think I saw it on there, but I think I saw it on there, big bro.
Yeah, it's also in the description.
Okay, gratitude. So that was my whole thing, bro. And I'm sure that being on this stream, you get a lot of crazies, and I hope I'm not looked upon as
you're not looking. You're not looking.
And I say this: if anybody takes a look at my pictures, you go on my Facebook page. I do health as wealth posts almost every other day, and I got a good brother. He is what my roadie, brother Kedar, Chris Withers. We go back and forth all the time. We sometimes we on the same road because we got nothing but love for each other. Anybody who see me from 2016 up till now, you know that there was something that I did to keep me alive. I was 139 pounds in 2016 from a ruptured tumor. Okay. And I'll tell a person in a minute, man, go get your checkups and go see your doctor. Don't make the mistake that I made. That's what made me so hardcore about.
Hold on, time out. You still promoted going to see the doctor?
Oh, see, that's the thing. People hear that.
You ain't even off the. You ain't off. Yeah, you didn't jump off the deep end.
No. See that, and that's why I had to make my statement to you before we started talking. People think when you say you're doing the vegetarian thing, you're going naturopathic and all that, that means you don't go to the doctor. That's BS. Okay. I personally acknowledge God and science work hand in hand. You can eat healthy, but go get checked out. You can, you don't have to eat meat. You can do Dr. Sabi's, rest in peace, his program, but still go see a doctor. Don't be stupid. That's where you can still take this vaccination. You can still take this vaccine. You can get fully vaccinated, but don't be stupid. That's the thing. This is the United States, brother, and I'm sure that you can agree when I say the worst thing they ever did to us as a people, they took away the ability for us to sit down and read a book. Okay. And me doing what I've done, and like yourself and other people, you do the research. You have no problem in checking out the data. Okay. In order to make better and wise decisions. Okay. I believe in the power of herbs because I've seen it work for me. But that don't mean that when I needed to get an operation that I wasn't going to go to the doctor.
Let me ask you this, since we're talking herbs real quick.
Yes, sir.
Do you think that an herb can cure can prevent the spread of an infectious disease?
I believe from my research, this is me, okay? I believe that any herbs, there's for every solution that is given scientifically or from a pill or a drug, there's 10 different natural alternatives that you can take. But that does not mean that you're not supposed to take. Listen, I had high blood pressure, okay? I did the apple cider vinegar, I did the sea moss and everything, but there was I think it's called elamicopane. I can never pronounce it correctly. I'll take it to help me out. See, you can be conscious, but don't be stupid. That's where I'm going. But I acknowledge that if you eat fruits and vegetables and you do it on a consistent basis, it will show results in your body. Now, however,
but let's keep it specific now.
Go ahead.
Okay, let's keep it specific. So if let's get back to the herb, and for instance, Sars Cov2.
Yes, sir.
Are you of the belief, this is you, not no one else, are you of the belief that a herb, because you said there's something out there, so are you of the belief that an herb can train your immune system to fight against a novel virus?
I believe so. And
all right, hold on, don't go too far. Hold on. You said you believe so. All right. Okay. So if you're of that belief, has there been any scientific data that you've seen or bear witness to or read by chance that would actually help what I want to say, confirm that belief or solidify that belief?
Give me an example.
Okay, so like, is there any type of scientific information that you've read that would actually substantiate your position as far as a herb that would prevent you from being infected with SARS-CoV-2? Have you seen anything like that?
I can't answer that question on this reason right here. I have to do more study on it, the same way I did with colon cancer.
Okay, so I'm gonna help you out.
Go ahead.
The reason that I asked the question that I asked is because the research actually states that herbs is like foods. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
All right. So a food can't train your immune system how to recognize something it's never encountered before. Do you agree with that?
I can agree with that.
Okay. Now, the reason that I asked about the whole herbs and preventing the spread of a disease and so on and so forth is because at its simplest form, there's no herb or food that can train your immune system to recognize a virus, because that would mean your herb would have to be evolutionary minded and be able to recognize all of these pathogens that exist in the world. And when it's a novel virus, the herbs have never encountered that. They don't have the molecular structure, right?
Okay.
To witness or recognize a virus. They don't know what they look like.
Okay.
Right? So like if you look at how herbs are created or where you have to go and harvest herbs and know which herbs do what, like they can't recognize those things. And more specifically, a virus attaches to cells. If you're unfamiliar with how viruses behave, they attach to the cells. Right. They're attached to your cells, and then they use your body against you to replicate itself and make more copies of the virus to affect more cells. And therefore, that is where the spread of disease happens.
Okay. May I interject?
Go ahead.
Okay, this is the part that I love talking about. You said the cells. When I was sick, the first thing they explained to me was the how cells build. Now, I am a tattoo artist, and one thing we have to learn about as tattoo artists, we have to learn about how to about cells. Okay, you are familiar with the fact that cells rebuild themselves every 30 days.
Our bodies have tons of cells, but
right.
the thing about the cells that is unique is that at the viruses evade the nucleus of a cell. Despite how many replicate and duplicate themselves over a period of time, that just makes you more susceptible of being infected by something because of the replication.
Okay, I give you that, because cancer does the same thing. It's aggressive. We do agree, right?
Right. Yeah. Hell yeah.
So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. So if we both agree that these cells are aggressive, then we understand that these cells, and I'm speaking from my experience again, these cells the only purpose is to dominate the areas that it's in, right?
Well, this is where I would say I kind of need to add to that is the fact that when you're dealing with viruses, they're trying to affect every cell in your body.
I agree.
So with SARS CoV2, and how the spread of infectious disease works for itself, right? It's slipping my mind this thing that I want to use, the proteins that it's using to replicate itself in your body and duplicate itself. It is then spreading and it is conquering. So an herb can't train this. This is where I go back to the herb.
Go ahead.
The fruits and vegetables. It can't train your body to recognize that you've been infected with something and protect it against that which it is supposed to or supposedly supposed to do. And that is where the conversations get murky. But however, I think people's perceptions is skewed because they literally believe so much in the herb. Now, the herb, right? And I'm not telling anyone not to take herbs or none of that stuff. That's not what we do over here. Now, the herb, right, doesn't aid in stopping, and you're gonna laugh at me, erectile dysfunction. It doesn't stop COVID tongue, COVID brain, COVID lung, COVID kidney. It doesn't stop what else? Other ailments. Like there's a whole list of ailments that I can go. We're not going to find an herb that'll be able to train the immune system to prevent it from doing those things. So
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
go ahead.
So there's no scientific data that suggests that an herb could actually prevent a virus.
Me and you got to sit down and talk. Because as of now, and I'm probably putting myself out here, I've got over 65 people that dealt with that thing, and I gave them natural alternatives, and they recovered in less than a week. So we got to sit down. We got to talk, bro.
Yeah. So that's fine. So no. Look. I'm not gonna take those couple of people. I'm gonna stick strictly to the science, because here's why I'm gonna say this: the 65 people that you could have treated could be asymptomatic people who had symptoms such as sniffles, coughing, problems breathing here or there, and you give them something that could help treat, not prevent, but help treat some of the ailments, which are one of the many symptoms. See, COVID symptoms, there's 256 symptoms that occur in Sars Cov2. So the disease COVID-19 will promote 251 in some people, but an average of 51 different symptoms in most people. But when someone is asymptomatic and they just having a little spell, you can give them whatever. But it goes back to the question that I posed earlier about curing. So if you gave them something and you felt like they recovered from it, right? That's anecdotal. That's anecdotally maybe the right thing over there. And I'm not saying anecdotal as in negative. I'm saying those anecdotal accounts can be taken into account, but we have to put them into perspective. However, the at the core of it, you never measured how much of the virus that was within their bodies, nor did you take any blood samples, right? And put them under a microscope and see if whatever you gave them was helping them clear the virus.
This is where the science comes in.
Right. And this is where people halt at. So as naturopaths, when I say, like, can you show me any data that will prove right and exact, we don't get that. Now, what we had was people getting certain herbs and things of that nature, and they were trying to treat their symptoms.
I got you.
Right now, you're going to be able to help. You're going to be able to facilitate some type of change in people's symptoms, especially if you know something that's good with clearing a headache, a little cold or a cough. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe an aching pain here or there. You're going to know certain things that you're, as a naturopath, you're going to know certain things to prescribe to a person to treat those ailments. But clearing the virus, you don't know. Like, have you ever heard of long COVID?
Yeah, I'm familiar. That's a new one to me, but I am familiar with it. So yes, I have heard about that.
Okay,
which goes back to me saying that again, you can't be stupid with this. And people, and I'm sure you're going to see this if you haven't seen it. I'm seeing it because I'm in Chicago. Okay. People think that and I'm using this as an example, and I hope the people that's watching this and listening to this are getting this message. Okay. Just because you take a Tylenol cold pill doesn't mean that the cold is gone.
Facts.
You know what I mean? And we are having a disconnection with people who are in the medical field against the people who are in the more natural field. It's all the medical. It's just more allopathic and naturopathic, quote unquote. And we're having a disconnect because one person believes that their way is better than the next person, instead of both of those entities coming together and saying, okay, that makes sense. Okay, this is what we got. Just like you said, the data, this is what you got from the data. I want to see the data. Why? Because I want to be informed. In the same manner of the data that I have by showing what I'm doing, I would ask that the person who's in the medical field to respect the research that I've done so that we can come in a common cause to fix a problem that's global.
All right. So, yeah, I'm glad that you said that. So earlier this year, the scientific community set aside created a pathway to work strategically with naturopaths, more specifically in Africa, right?
Okay.
I want you to hear me closely. So the relationships were already built and established to work directly with herbalists in Africa, alongside with their vaccine strategies to help combat Sars Cov2 because it's a global pandemic. What yielded was the herbs were no more effective in preventing the spread of infectious disease, hospitalization, and death. So it didn't bog well for them because the vaccines were working that much more.
Okay.
However, as far as treating certain symptoms, they didn't shun the herbalists.
Okay.
So that the scientific community had already made that advancement that Americans had not paid attention to.
Do we ever really pay attention to anything?
Not well, yeah, it's pretty tough. But just based on the data, so let me just give you a little bit because you're a naturopath. So things such as zinc, D3, vitamin D3 and vitamin C. What else? What did you prescribe? Did you prescribe any of that to anyone that you worked with out of those 65 people?
As far as the no.
Okay.
No. I not in the direct form. I suggest
what would you suggest? What did you suggest to any of the 65 people that you said that you worked with?
First thing with any disease, virus, anything, you got to detox. First thing, you got to clean your body out of what's going on in there in the first place. That's the first thing I teach people how to do. You got to detox.
But what if the spread of infectious disease is severe? And of course, naturally, you're not going to eat. So you're going to be in some type of detox phase. What is your first suggestion?
You have to start infusing the body with alkaline substances. If you got to go all liquid, alkaline liquid substances. I do a lot of powders, liquid and put in powders, smoothies, nothing solid. As far as like meat or grains or anything of that nature, you want to flush your system out.
So you want to go alkaline with a novel. You want to go alkaline to clean the body out. But are you familiar with the fact that the alkaline diet, as far as the alkaline or the whole electric thing actually failed at testing to prevent against anything? Are you aware of that?
In prevention or in
treating or preventing, the alkaline diet was a failure.
I would like to see that, because the people that I've worked with hasn't had a problem. I'm working with a guy right now that's dealing with lung cancer right now, and we detoxified him for a week, and the pains that he was suffering has gone down to a minimum. He just got out the hospital and they just did tests on him, and his scans went from a 10, which was extremely bad, to a 4, and that was from detoxification. And that was using 15 different herbs.
Your body naturally detoxes, so you don't necessarily have to induce a detox.
But that's good. Okay, I don't disagree with that.
Can you see this? Can you see this?
I did. I'm looking at it right now.
All right. Okay. So I don't want to go any further than this, because I wanted to tell you can't change your pH level in your body. No matter, so what we induce, no matter if we eat a whole so-called alkaline diet, we can never change the pH level in our body. If we attempt to change the pH level in our body, we could actually kill ourselves.
Okay.
The only thing that we can do when it comes, just give me a second. The only thing that we can do when it comes to pH level is especially when it regards to our immune system, is we can raise our immune system back up after it's been weakened. Meaning, once we're sick, we're at our lowest point, our immune system is weak, we can strengthen our immune system back up. And I think the confusion is when we talk about naturopath is our understanding of how the immune system functions and works. So in this particular article is just a simple conversation article. Now I can go get really, really technical here, right? But we already, well, I'm saying we, but when I say we, the people that actually study with me and things of that nature, we already know that the alkaline diet is pretty much failed news. And if you go through this, and I don't mind giving this to you at all.
No, please. I want to study. I want to learn. I'm hungry to learn.
Right. So here's your point of the point of the alkaline argument. Your body is constantly working to maintain a normal pH level. All right, of between 7.35 and 7.45 in the blood, which is slightly alkaline. All right, so you need that balance to function. Your pH is to the body what temperature is to the planet. The two organs responsible for maintaining that delicate balance between alkalinity and acidity are the kidneys, by retaining or excreting oxygen and bicarbonate, depending on what our bodies need, and the lungs by getting rid of the carbon dioxide. If you think back to high school chemistry, the more hydrogens is sometimes the more acidic it is. The more bicarbonate, the more basic. All right, now, but can we alter the pH levels in our bodies? Not in our blood or in our cells, where it matters. The fact that certain foods might change the pH of your urine slightly isn't a reliable indicator for health outcomes. It's a sign that your kidneys are efficiently excreting waste to maintain your body's equilibrium. So, for instance, me, I drink a gallon of water a day, sometimes over a gallon of water a day. So this is perfect because when I go on urine, my urine is clear. Excuse me, and I have to go to the bathroom a lot, so I see that. But that is an indicator that I'm functioning properly, right? Because I'm all that water intake, I'm helping my kidneys, I'm flushing out my kidneys. So if there's any toxins or what people would say, anything bad there, me drinking that water is actually a help. So now the article goes on to say, well, what about alkaline water? Right? Because people promote drinking alkaline water. But Sebi's diet, once upon a time, promoted alkaline water and then retracted and said spring water.
Yes.
So it says some parts of the body have different pH, like the stomach, which has a pH of 2. Stomach acid can burn a hole through a table, which means that when it comes to eating more alkaline foods or chugging alkaline water, you're just wasting your time and your money. Alkaline water might be alkaline in a bottle, but it's not going to be alkaline once it hits your stomach. And that's what people don't understand. And then it goes on to say, Zedner also questions why anyone would want to make it harder for the body to do its job. It's not possible to change the pH of your body with food, and even if you could, it certainly wouldn't be healthy. In fact, alkalosis, what people don't pay attention to, is when your body is too alkaline. It's actually a condition that can cause nausea, vomiting, lightheadedness, confusion, and muscle spasms. There are two types. You have
alkaline water. You do that. You do that. Alkaline water will do that.
If you there's two types. You have respiratory alkalosis, which can occur when there is too little carbon dioxide in the blood due to things like hyperventilation or being at a high altitude. And then you have metabolic alkalosis, which can occur when the body loses too much acid due to poor kidney function. So is there anything good about the alkaline diet? Medically speaking, the alkaline diet is unlikely to do you any serious physical harm. However, it takes an emotional toll when it doesn't work. Right?
Yeah, it's true.
Right. So there are things in play when we talk about like alkalinity that it has been proven to be false. And this is what I mean by when you said, well, first you got to have an alkaline where your body is already there. Your body is already fighting to be there. As a matter of fact, when you're infected with a novel virus and you're going through those cold sweats and chills and things of that nature, that is your body defending itself and rebuilding itself back up because it's at a weakened state.
I absolutely agree with that. Absolutely agree with that.
So with an alkaline diet, most people are under the assumption that they can change their pH levels in their bodies, and then that's going to stop the spread of an infectious disease or stop disease from occurring in the first place. And that would be actually inaccurate.
Okay, may I step in for a minute?
Yeah.
Okay, this is where the education about being alkaline has been shot everywhere except where it needs to go. I gotta state only for what I know. If you are not researching this stuff before you try it, you're putting yourself at risk. What Dr. Sebi did when you just spoke on that, I remember having a conversation about that. A lot of things Dr. Sebi says that works at one point in time, he changed his mind after he's done more research into it, is the reason why
I wouldn't say research.
You wouldn't say research?
No, because all right, so at one point he was okay with black beans,
Mm-hmm.
and then he took black beans off his grocery list of things to have. See, I told you that I was, you know what I'm saying? That's just to let you know that I was getting like I was ordering it starts with a B, Bladderex, and something else, a particular herb that I was getting,
Mm-hmm.
and then something else. In order to do Dr. Sebi's the diet, you have to buy his products, those supplements that he actually had that would actually help one inside of that. However, he almost killed a couple of people with his diet.
And people don't talk about that.
Yeah.
Because they weren't there to see those things occur. This still goes back to doing research. And again, I'm speaking for myself. This goes back to research because I've seen some things that he spoke about, like the carrots and the spinach at one point in time. He said you really shouldn't be eating that because it's a hybrid. But some people actually do good with it. So in my research, I'm looking at maybe it has something to do with the blood type. It could be true. It could be false. However, if you're not looking on your own and seeing if this works for you, then I can't say it doesn't work because I haven't tried it. What works for you may work for you, but what works for me may work for me, and vice versa. Just like getting the vaccine. It can work for somebody, but it may not work for somebody else. They may need the Moderna. They may need the Pfizer. You see what I'm saying? One shot may not work for you the way that the other shot works. It's still up for grabs. You still got to do your research.
That wouldn't be the only way. See, this is science again. So the only way that a vaccine wouldn't work for another individual is if they're immunocompromised or if they have comorbidities, meaning one or more diseases in them already that's not allowing them to afford some type of protection. And we even know the exact number of people that wouldn't draw some type of protection, and that's 3%. Is it 3% of the people in the United States are immunocompromised. So we know that 3% of our population is immunocompromised and won't actually get any type of protection, yet we still vaccinate that 3 million, that small pop. However,
what happened to the oldest person that took the shot and died? They didn't
I don't know of anyone who taken a vaccine and turned around and died.
No, that was
the vaccine.
Just what you said. Just not to cut you off, bro. What I was saying about that was that they went and got it and didn't do any tests prior to getting that because they had issues. They had complicated health issues before they took that shot.
Yeah, a lot of people have, and I think a lot of people don't know that. Like they were already having issues or problems. Like earlier on during the pandemic, when people was getting vaccinated, frail people that was 96, 97, 98 years old or in their 80s were that was in old folks home were getting the vaccine. However, some of them were transitioning and people are trying to blame it on the vaccine only to find out that their natural causes actually took them out. But yet many people wanted to blame the vaccine for that. So when it comes down to what we're discussing here, I don't want to get too far left.
No problem.
With the data, because we're specifically speaking about naturopathy and what it offers, right? It doesn't really offer much of a protection against SARS-CoV-2, but what it does provide, right? And this is what people need to understand. And what it does provide is some form of helping us continue to be healthy, regardless. Health is wealth. So we agree there. But when it comes to SARS-CoV-2, our best solution, because you were asking about solutions, would be the vaccine. So I had a question for you real quick. What about the people? Do you think that people are scared of COVID?
Yeah. Because of the after effects. Not just them dying, but people around them.
So to you, COVID is a real thing. So what would stop you from?
Yeah. Yes, sir. I have. I'm on the. Well, this is the first time we met, but I am a celebrity in the biker community, and I can tell you that a lot of people in the biker community have passed within the last year and a half from this. So that's not a happy subject for me.
Have you scared anyone as it regards to COVID?
As far as what, getting the shot?
Yeah. How many people have you detracted anyone from getting it?
No. I stay far away from that as possible. What I talk to people about is, if you're going to do it, again, just like we first started, don't be stupid.
So why you haven't gotten the vaccine yet? If you know it's
I don't until I have my. I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
No. I'm just, so I want to hear your answers. I was asking, why haven't you? Yeah, why you haven't gotten the vaccine?
Until I have my last cancer surgery, then I'll consider it. I don't want to do anything that's going to affect anything that happens to me prior to me having my last cancer surgery. It's just like I've had 2 surgeries so far. I didn't want to do anything until there were no signs of any cancer in my body that came back. I gained back all of my weight. I got my muscle tone back. I'm active. I'm doing good. But I didn't jump into just going back and having surgery and then end up having this come back, and they had to go back into me, and then you may get infected, because the risk that I had in the possibility of going through surgery again was even more dangerous.
Are you aware that this vaccine would not hinder or prevent you from having that surgery?
Well, that I don't know, and that is why I'm asking. I'm asking for guidance. See, I'm honorable enough to say to ask for guidance. I don't know that. And then again, I'm in Chicago. You got a lot of space. You got a lot of space cadets in both sides, and a lot of them may be quick to just get you in there, get some money off of you. And there have been faulty situations. I'm praying that it don't happen to me, but I've been good. I've taken 2 COVID tests. I've passed it with flying colors. I have went in, had my colonoscopy, no problems. The last surgery that I had, they took a lot of stuff out. They took a tube out of me and did pretty good.
All right, so this is from your American Cancer Society, right? I already seen this before, and I already knew where to go. But as far as the vaccines, right? It tells you right here, they're used to help a person's immune system recognize and protect the body against certain infections. Vaccines are available to help protect against COVID-19. And it talks about what it's here to discuss. So it says, is it safe for a cancer patient to get any type of vaccine? People with cancer or a history of cancer can get some vaccines, but this depends on many factors, right? So you got to know these factors: the type of vaccine, the type of cancer person's had, if they're still being treated for cancer, and if their immune system is working properly. Because of it's best to talk with your doctor before getting any type of vaccine. So this is why I asked. So which COVID vaccines are available? It says there's 3. And then they give you the actual vaccines. Now, I'm about to say this because it's based on scientific data. I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but each one of these vaccines that are approved for, whether it's for EUA or Pfizer, which is full authorization, did you know that they actually tested people with comorbidities that had one or more diseases, and cancers was one of the things that they had people that had HIV that was a part of the trials, that had certain cancers that was a part of the trials, heart issues, things of that nature. So they actually tested against that to see how those people would respond. Did you know that?
Negative. Did not know that.
Right. So, as stated, and I understand your perspective, and I'm gonna tell you to follow this. I'm gonna tell you to follow the guidance of your doctors and what they say. But more importantly, when you're dealing with, depending on the type of cancer that you have and so on and so forth, they're going to be able to answer your question and let you know that it is safe because of that. But man, still though, are you gonna get this book though?
Yeah, because I really want to get this book, man. I ain't just saying that, man. I really want to get that book, bro. Because the people who I talk to on my page, they're interested in that. They're interested. People have been following me for 4.5 years, bro. Anything I talk about, I try to back up and give people references, man. I know sometimes we can get spooked out and say some things and people be like, ooh, but if there's references that you can read up, especially with me, because if I use it, I'm gonna show and prove that I use it, So looking from a person that was 139 pounds at one point to where he's at 186 pounds now, you can see me improving. You can see that. I like to show people what I do to show that it works, instead of not saying that it isn't correct or not. But we are in a very difficult time right now, and people just want to feel somewhat comfortable when it comes to making these decisions, man. And we are not doing a good job at that.
So do you not feel like 810,000 deaths isn't enough evidence that 800,000 families, right, have lost someone to Sars Cov2 or the disease COVID-19? So this virus,
go ahead.
This virus has changed millions of lives. Not only the 800,000 people that it actually killed, but the millions of people that it infected, and as I said earlier, developed long COVID and still are having minimum symptoms, but they're not recognizing those symptoms. Like most people aren't paying too much attention to eyesight until they just really think their eyes is going bad because they're getting old, not necessarily knowing that the spread of the disease is the cause of their eyesight, or they still have struggled to smell or taste certain foods.
Now, I asked that question. I'm glad you asked that question. I think that over 800,000 people dying is a disaster. It's a disaster. But I think it's worse of a disaster is that people, what you just said right then and there, some of those things I wasn't familiar with, and I just make one person. Imagine how many more people are not aware of that. The problem is, in my opinion, from what I'm analyzing here, is the fact that we're not educating people about the long-term effects of this. We're not educating people. We're not an educated people. We just take it and we just go. We're not paying attention because we're not being educated. We're being told this. We're being told, if you don't take this, you're stupid and you can be spreading this and affecting other people, but we're not learning why we're affecting people, how we're affecting people. And that's like people like me. I want to be in the know, but I don't want you just sitting here saying, not you, I'm saying allegorically, saying that, okay, you need to do this, and if you don't, then you're dumb, or you're just an anti-vaxxer, you're one of those guys, and this and that. No, let's sit down. Let's look what we just did. What we just did. We sat down and we had a forum and we talked, and you told me some things I didn't know, and I appreciate that. This is how we need to communicate with people. Even if the person decides not to take a shot, etc., at least have a forum where we can sit down and at the end of this conversation, man, I learned something, man. And we may make new friends because of this. And we're losing a lot of that.
Yeah. So look, what I want to do, man, is I'm gonna shut it down tonight. I gotta get up. It's like early. I gotta get up early in the morning, get my hair cut, my kids' hair cut.
You and me, brother.
But what I'm gonna do is the next time that I'm live, I know Chris. Make sure you subscribe to the channel.
I'm on it, brother. Again, I appreciate
click the notification bell.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and get the book, bro, so I can go to the post office. I'm going to the post office tomorrow. So go ahead and order the book before you dip out. It's a quick little process. Hit the link, get the book. I'm gonna sign it, autograph it. I'm gonna make sure you get the book. I'm gonna send it out and make sure you get it as fast as possible. And then, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna convene. We're gonna probably have us go back into a conversation like this again, maybe tomorrow,
yes, sir.
maybe the next day, maybe Friday for sure, if it's not too late for some people. And we can get into certain questions and answers and dialogues and things of that nature, because there's a lot that that I could answer or help answer for you.
That's
that
peace.
We can get into. So yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on, man, and everybody rocking out and tuning in with us. This has been a little extended show or whatnot, but we're going to continue this, and if it was earlier, we would still continue, but yeah, we want to continue this, and then we'll see where you at with it, man. But I look forward to seeing you hurry up and get that book, man, so I can get it sent out to you. And then and everyone else that hasn't gotten it yet in the chat will get it too. But I appreciate you coming on. So I look forward to bringing you back on, man.
Yes, sir, man.
Days,
gratitude,
right?
man. Hey, man, we need to do more of this.
I've been doing it, man. We've been doing it since before the pandemic. To be honest, man, I spent a few years doing this type of stuff. But yeah, man, I look forward to it, and I'll see you back on Friday. All right.
Yes, sir. Gratitude, bro. You be peaceful, man.
You
all
too,
right.
Man.
This is only part one, man. We gonna keep doing this. Indeed.
Absolutely.
All right, brother.
All right. Peace to you.
Peace.
All right, everybody, man. I appreciate y'all for hanging on in there, man. I'm gonna go wind it down. You know how I do when I do what I do. Hopefully more people could learn from that. That's pretty much why I kept it going. There's a lot for people to learn on both sides. You don't never see us really just smacking up the herbs unless people are arguing it from ignorance, acting like it can cure all be all. But that's the furthest from the truth. We can catch the replay and fade it up, but we'll continue this conversation with hopes of being able to educate more people. Remember, January 22nd, Black Dot Bookstore, Atlanta. Be there, be square, 7 p.m. Chill talk, y'all, with Dr. Benita Cole, the great Dr. Benita Cole, Chill, and myself. We're gonna get into what Sars Cov2 taught me, and that'll be 1/7/2022. Make sure you're in the building for that. So if you're on Facebook, I know Chill Talk is on Facebook. Is where he do his Wednesday shows and Friday shows. I don't know if he gonna go YouTube, but y'all need to be on the lookout for that when that come out. That's in a few weeks. So I need to go ahead and get Dr. Cody's book out tomorrow, and I need y'all to go ahead and get y'all books and be ready to build. On that note, man, y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day.